The Rich Eisen Show.
The Cincinnati Bengals select.
Live from the Rich Eisen Show studio in Los Angeles.
We want Belichick.
Did you text Bill?
Yeah.
Yes or no?
No way. This is why I don't listen to you two schmohawks.
Today's guests, the Ringer NFL writer Kevin Clark, Utah State quarterback Jordan Love, Stanford head coach David Shaw, plus Emmy Award-winning actor Eric Stonestreet. And now, it's Rich Eisen.
Okay, everybody, we've made it. It's draft day, and it is cause for excitement.
Man.
It's the NFL Draft Day, everybody. Brockman, Del Tufo, that's T.J. Jefferson going back to his post. We've got a great show in store. The 454s are already here at the top of the show, and in record numbers. I just checked that out. Normally it takes a while for people to start tuning into us, but we're all here together. YouTube.com/Rich Eisen Show is how you can watch us from start to finish. From 1 to 3 Eastern, that's when NBCSN joins us. Give us a call, 844-204-RICH. This day is for you. This day is for all you fans out there that want to get something off your chest about how excited you are for the draft day, what you think your team needs to do, what you think your team shouldn't do. You're the draft, Nick. You're the people. You're the experts. We want to hear from you. 844-204-RICH is the number to dial. In terms of actual, one would think, bona fide experts, David Shaw, the head coach of Stanford football, if this was a normal night, well, I shouldn't say that, because I should say if this is a normal night, we'd be hanging out by the fountains at the Bellagio Hotel in Las Vegas, Nevada, and that is not a normal night. But
might be for me.
If this was the expected draft night,
Sure.
Then David Shaw would be sitting right with me and Daniel Jeremiah on the set of NFL Network's draft coverage. Kurt Warner would probably be sitting there too. Instead, Kurt Warner will be part of the ESPN NFL Network combined coverage tonight on linear television. As for me, you're going to be hearing a lot about this. And then, because at the top of the second hour, we call this a tease, I'm going to announce the guest list.
Oh, baby.
Now, I could read out the guests that they have already compiled. Okay?
Okay.
From tonight all the way through to Saturday at 1 o'clock Eastern or 4 o'clock Eastern when I'm done with the broadcast of NFL Draft-a-thon Live. That's going to be the social media, digital media portion of the draft coverage tonight, and the spot where all of it is centered around, sure, we'll talk the draft. All of it centered around raising as much money for COVID-19 relief. NFL.com/relief is how you can donate money. Let's raise as much as we possibly can at NFL.com/relief. I could sit here and read guest one to guest last. It would fill probably a 10-minute segment. I'm serious.
I love it.
I'm serious. And the guest list is remarkable. I am very excited. And it starts at 7:30 Eastern tonight on every spot where the NFL has a social media platform. Twitter, Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, Reddit. Yahoo Sports will also be streaming it live. And we're excited. I have not one but two more draft home setups from decision makers going down tonight for the NFL draft. That'll be shown later on. David Shaw from Stanford football. Again, he will definitely be all over the evaluation of Justin Herbert. He's right at the top of the third hour. Jordan Love, will he have a short night? Will he have a long night? Will he have a night tomorrow night? I don't know. Did you see Daniel Jeremiah's mock draft? Is everything all right over there, guys? We good?
Yeah, we're all right. We're
okay.
just checking
we're
a
all
couple
right.
things.
Okay.
All right.
So Daniel Jeremiah, did you see his mock draft last night on NFL Network?
I did.
He has Jordan Love falling all the way through to the second round. I don't think that's going to happen.
That would surprise
Look,
me.
DJ knows. DJ knows the evaluation, and DJ knows his ear to the ground. I think somebody's popping up and calling the 49ers and saying, you want to trade out. Trade out. You want a second-round pick? Here's a second round, maybe a little bit more. Wet your beak a little bit, John Lynch, the way that you want. And Jordan Love will be snagged tonight because a team wants a 5th year of contractual control. Jordan Love's going to be joining us at the end of our second hour, first hour on NBCSN. And then Eric Stonestreet of Modern Family.
All right.
I would say that this is the longest he's waited for a first-round pick in his life. But would you believe the Kansas City Chiefs, they have not drafted a first-round pick? Do you know who their last first-round pick was? Patrick Mahomes.
Really?
Yeah, they didn't have a
3 years ago?
That's the last one.
Wow.
So he'll be waiting, and it's entirely possible that Andy Reid and the Chiefs are the ones that trade out of the first round tonight. And then we wonder what the Dolphins are up to, right? What are the Dolphins up to? Big night for them.
The biggest question
Big
mark
night
tonight,
for them.
Right?
3 first-round selections. 3. Okay? The Jaguars have 2. The Jaguars have 2 first-round picks. We all know the Raiders. This is the end of the Khalil Mack trade tonight. The last of the first-round selections that they got and handed off to Mike Mayock and say, you turn these into human beings that can win football games. Sure did last year. When they had 3 first-rounders. Can the Dolphins turn in a Cleveland Farrell, Josh Jacobs, Jonathan Abram draft tonight? Like Mayock did last year. And by the way, I didn't mention Max Crosby.
Pretty good draft last year.
Who damn near looked like J.J. Watt half the time. I didn't mention Hunter Renfrow.
The Renfrow, man.
Right? The Lions at 3. Is that the spot?
That's when the draft really starts,
dude,
right?
That's the spot I identified, as you know. I identified that spot weeks before the Combine. That's the spot where if you are hankering to beat the Giants to the punch for a lineman, I guess, go get them. If you're hankering to beat anybody else to the punch to get to the Giants because you want Tua, that's where you go get him. The question is Tua going to fall? That's tonight's drama. That is tonight's drama. Is Tua going to fall?
I have no idea.
And who's going to rise
no
up?
idea.
Who's going to come up? Daniel Jeremiah and his mock draft last night that I co-hosted, by the way, from corner left corner desk position, stage 2.
Where was that football from that had all the autographs? I noticed Joe Namath was front and center. Don't think I didn't see that. Don't think I didn't see that.
Joe Namath is right there.
And Michael Irvin.
That's from a Hall of Fame.
Okay.
You know. Schefter, what do we have here? Over the last couple weeks, the Dolphins called the Bengals on more than one occasion to see if Cincinnati would be willing to trade the number 1 overall pick. The Dolphins were told in no uncertain terms, no, Cincinnati would not trade the pick and would stay put at number 1. They want Burrow. The Dolphins want Burrow, and that has nothing to do with Tua. It has to do with the evaluation that Peter King talked about a few weeks ago. That is, if you think Burrow's the guy, then trade all your first-rounders. Trade them all.
Full Ditka.
Say full Ditka. You want to go up from 5 to 1, trade them all. And you're like, oh, that's too much. Well, guess what? If you think the kid is that special,
Yeah, who cares?
that's it.
Yeah. Doesn't matter what the price is.
I don't recall anymore what the Jets paid to move up from 6 to 3 for Sam Darnold. I don't remember it. You know? And it's not like Darnold is completely panned out yet, as we talked about with Gary Vaynerchuk yesterday. We still need to see.
Not yet,
But
he's
I think everybody still evaluates him as a special, talented quarterback. So you just trade whatever you want, whatever you need to get the guy that you want. But it sure looks like if they're willing to go from 5 to 1, are they willing to go from 5 to 3 to get the guy that they want? And if Tua drops, or if the Dolphins go get Tua, then the smokescreen of we're interested in Herbert, the smokescreen of we're going to try to trade up to try and beat the Giants to the punch for a tackle, an offensive tackle, is the greatest smokescreen. And you have to really tip your cap to Chris Greer to reverse what everybody's been thinking for months and well over a year that they've been tanking for Tua Tagovailoa. Can't wait for that tonight, man. And Daniel Jeremiah had the Falcons trading up from 16 to 9 to get Derek Brown, the tackle from Auburn. And then the Jaguars trading down from 9 to 16 to take Javon Kinlaw, who they could basically take at 9 also. That's the trade. If you could trade down and still get the player that you wanted in the spot that you just traded out of, that's the chef's kiss good stuff. Did you see who they had, who DJ had the Patriots taking tonight?
I did. Interesting.
The kid Kmet, the tight end from Notre Dame.
Yeah, I like it. Obviously, tight end, big position that was lacking last year in firepower in New England with Gronk retiring. We'll see. We'll see. I still think that pick's getting traded. I think there's no question the Pats trade down. They don't have a second-round pick. I think they're going to get one, maybe a third, and then make some moves.
And Daniel had the Browns going with the tackle Thomas, and then the Jets going with Becton. Tackle, taking all 4 tackles in the first 11 picks of the draft. He had Wills of Alabama going to Arizona, and then he had, of course, the first tackle going off the board in Tristan Wirfs being a giant.
And that's kind of what Ian was saying yesterday. We could see an unprecedented run on tackles in the top 10.
So he thinks it's the 4 in the top 11, leaving every possible wide receiver available for the Raiders.
Oh, man.
And he has Gruden and Mayock choosing out of all possible wide receivers CeeDee Lamb. And then he had the Niners sitting there at 13. And instead of Judy or Ruggs, they would go Justin Jefferson there. And then that leaves the Bucs clearly wanting an offensive lineman to protect Brady, but the top 4 tackles are gone. And instead of going with the kid Austin Jackson from USC, he says that the Bucs say, screw it, no risk it, no biscuit, and adds Jerry Jeudy to the wide receiving core that already has Godwin and Evans.
It's like how many yachts
and Gronk. So the 4 pass catchers that would be available for Tom Brady this fall, knock on wood if you're with me, in Tampa would be the 2 returning NFC Pro Bowl first teamers in Godwin and Evans. Gronk, first ballot Hall of Famer, a year out of the NFL and ready to roll, nice and healthy, and Jerry Jeudy, who many people in their evaluation would say is a top 5 wide receiver, first wide receiver off the board talent, but he would be available sitting there at 14 because of just how talented everybody else is in this deep draft.
Is Brady going to throw it 70 times a game down there? My goodness.
And then he said that the Bucs, it's possible, because I said, how would the follow-up to this would be how would that affect the rest of the Bucs draft? And DJ says, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, that kid from LSU, available in the second round. He said he was put on this earth to play with Tom Brady. Is what he said. Because Brady, as you know, doesn't usually hand the ball off to a bell cow unless it's Jonas Gray on a certain Sunday night.
Corey Dillon.
Okay. Right? That he is the ultimate pass catching. Like he would be his James White, his Kevin Falk, if you want to just give you some names. And Kevin Falk, as we all know, is part of LSU's program and coaching staff, and he's been one of the many that anybody who's been around that campus and evaluating the many talented LSU Tigers coming out of the program for this year's draft, they will tell you that Kevin Falk has been telling everybody the comparisons of Burrow to Tom Brady are appropriate in terms of all what you would call intangibles and mechanics. Clearly, results need to be had, but...
Well, on that, Rich, you talked about the Dolphins making moves. Mike Florio is saying that the Dolphins are attempting to acquire the number 3 pick in order to make a Godfather offer to the Bengals for number 1. So they would package 3 and 5, and I'm sure others
go
to number 1.
Right, and the Godfather package would be you don't want to go from 1 to 5. You think that's too far to drop. How about you go from 1 to 3 and 5?
Yep.
But the Lions wouldn't cough up 3 if they've got to fall all the way down to the middle of the first round. Unless they package together their other first-round selection and maybe next year's.
Maybe.
Now, the Lions to go, again, do me this favor. Would you please print out the draft list for me?
Oh, yeah, sure.
I'm thinking of just off the top of my head. It's 5, 18, and then they're sitting in the 20s, right? They've got the...
For the Dolphins?
Yes, they've got the Steelers.
The Dolphins have 5, 18, and 26.
Okay. So they might tell the Lions, we'll give you 18 and something next year for your third. That's a long way for the Lions to drop, man. Long way. The Lions have a lot to fill, but they can't be sitting there for 2.5 hours tonight waiting to pull the trigger. They can't fall that far. Unless the Dolphins just keep on building up, right? Maybe they trade their 18 and 25 to get up close enough for a first rounder that they can then flip to Detroit. Keep their 5, then trade the 5 and the 3 and something next year to get up to 1. Would that get it done? So they use their other 2 first rounders to get close
3.
enough to get close enough to get maybe 9 from Jacksonville.
Okay.
To get in the area code for
the Lions. And then they take 5 and 9 and a 2021.
No. Listen to me. They've got a 5, 18, and 26. They take 18 and 26 to get in the top 10.
Okay.
So they'll have the 3, 5, and a top 10 pick.
Okay.
They use that lowest top 10 pick to get up to 3 using some other draft capital.
Right.
So now Detroit doesn't have to fall too far to give up their 3.
Right.
All right? Detroit doesn't fall out of the top 10 to give up their 3. So basically what the Dolphins would have 3 picks. They now have the 3 and the 5, right? That way. And they trade the 3 and the 5 and something from next year's draft to get up to 1. So the Bengals don't have to fall further than 3. And the Lions don't have to fall further than whatever they get into the top 10. That would be the way for the Dolphins to pull this thing off tonight, if they can.
That would be what a move.
Well, I mean, if you love Burrow, and apparently they must. That would be amazing. But they have the capital to do it, man. They got second rounders too.
Yeah,
it's coming out of their ears. And that's what you do this for. That's what you trade all these people away for this draft capital for, is to work the draft board to your benefit.
They have 3 1s.
For the guy that they want.
2 2s.
Right.
A 3, a 4, 3 5s.
Right. So they have enough.
Lots of draft capital.
So again, the Lions don't want to fall all the way to 18 from 3. They're not going to do that. So the Dolphins have to get, certainly if they need the 3 and the 5 for the Bengals to cough up the 1, right? So if they need the Lions 3, their own 5, for the Bengals to say yes to cough up the 1, then they need to get the Lions a top 10 choice for the Lions to basically say, we'll fall out of 3, but not all the way down to 18.
Right.
You got to get within hailing distance of 3. Maybe the Panthers at 7. The Cardinals at 8 have been supposedly ready to trade out. The Jaguars at 9. Jaguars already have 2 first rounders. Theirs and the Rams at 20. If you go and basically say to them, how about you like Jacksonville to choose 18, 20, and 25 for your 9, and then you trade the 9 to the Lions for their 3 with some second-round selections. Then suddenly you trade Burrow, and then you got nothing left till Friday night, but you still got 2 1s next year. And you already went hog wild in free agency and got some guys, and you go to work with Joe Burrow. How's that for a draft night for the Dolphins? Did I just kind of map it out for you, how it could possibly work?
I think Dolphins fans would sign up for that.
Would Jacksonville be willing to just go all the way down and get 3 first-rounders in a deep draft, but not anywhere near the top 10? Maybe. Oh, man. And some of you folks thought the draft shouldn't happen. Come on. This is going to be good. Okay, so set the table. Everybody who is on hold, please stay on hold. We will take your phone calls. Our first hour on NBCSN coming up later on this hour. We'll take your calls, and then our first hour is open for your phone calls on NBCSN at 844-204-RICH, number to dial. But enjoy his work on The Ringer, and I would love to get his thoughts on all of this. It's Kevin Clark joining me here from The Ringer right here on The Rich Eisen Show. How are you, Kevin?
I'm doing good. I'm ready for some football. Whatever we want to call this, I'm ready for tonight.
Well, I mean, it's a draft. You know, it's not going to look the same at all. We know that. It's not going to look anything like what we think of a draft. I mean, Roger Goodell just tweeted out a video of him walking around his house showing you where the cards are going to be and where this person's going to be and where that person's going to be, you know. But we're going to get a draft, and it's going to be significant. And when we do get football back one day, it's going to have a huge ripple effect. Do you think the Dolphins are making that Godfather offer to the Bengals? What do you think?
I think they're going to try. You know, I spent some time in Miami in December, and I talked to Chris Greer about this, and I said, what's the plan? And they said, listen, when you force it, that's when mistakes are made. And I think they're talking about evaluation. I think they were talking about, you know, reaching for the third quarterback in the draft or something like that. But I think that if they're convinced that Burrow is the guy, they're going to try to make that offer because Burrow's not forcing it. I mean, maybe throwing a bunch of first-round picks is forcing it from a value standpoint, but from an evaluation standpoint, it's not. If he's the guy, do everything you can to Godfather offer the Bengals into doing it. I don't think the Bengals are going to do it. I think that they've made up their mind. It's a little late in the process, obviously, but I think that no one, something I remember Mike Shanahan saying this, no one has ever said that someone's overpaid for a franchise quarterback. It's never happened. If it's a franchise guy, go get him.
Fact. That's a fact, Kevin. I mean, that's a fact. So, you know, Dolphins fans that may have just heard the scenario playing out that the Bengals would trade out of 1 if all they have to do is fall to 3 and then have a 5 right after. If they pick the 2 of the first 5 picks in this year's draft, and then figure out quarterback from there on out, they might be willing to do that. And then the Dolphins have to get within hailing distance for the Lions to be comfortable to hop out of 3 and not lose so much. And the Dolphins use draft capital in tomorrow night's second round and then only choose once in the first round because of all of this, and they get Burrow. That's the end of that if they win for years with Joe Burrow. You know?
Yeah, exactly. And no one's going to say they paid too much if Joe Burrow turns out to be the Joe Burrow we think he can. I think there's there's so many outstanding issues there. I think it's a tough road. There's a tough path to getting that and not giving up the 5th pick to get the 3rd pick and all that. But listen, they have more draft capital really than any team in the last couple of decades. They took the biggest dead cap charge in history last year. They are rebuilding very, very quickly, and they understand how to do it, and they understand that getting Joe Burrow is the end of the rebuild. It ends tonight if they can do that, and they understand that that's why they're trying.
Kevin Clark here on the Rich Eisen Show. What else are you hearing? What else do you think might actually happen tonight, sir? What do you got for me?
Yeah, I'm really intrigued to see what the trade process looks like. You know, I've talked to a couple people who think there's going to be quote-unquote package trades, which are trades that are agreed upon before the draft. Okay, if this prospect is there, then this, because they just don't want the chaos of calling a team with 4 minutes left on the clock and seeing what they can work out. I think that generally the quarterback thing, I mean, listen, every draft is about quarterbacks in some way, whether that's getting a quarterback or taking advantage of a team that doesn't have a quarterback, which might be happening with Miami right now. And the way that Tua is approached by teams, this is the strangest offseason in the history of football. It's the strangest draft in the history of football. And Tua, in that regard, is one of the most unique prospects because this is a guy who, teams cannot independently check out his hip. They cannot independently work him out. I think that with that in mind, I think there's a case to be made that Tua is the most intriguing prospect in the last couple of drafts just because of the fact that he's an incredible talent who can't get worked out by teams, and we just don't know how the season is going to play out to where I don't know if teams overthink it or underthink it with Tua going into tonight.
It's overthink. Come on. I mean, this guy's special. I honestly, sometimes the evaluation does not appear on an MRI. Sometimes the evaluation does not appear in an X-ray machine. And I know that is a huge part of it, and I know that that's why the combine was created, all right? But sometimes the best evaluation is with two eyes. That's it. Your own two eyes. And I think this kid is absurdly special. And, man, the ceiling is so high with him. I think it's overthink, personally, Kevin.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I think that there's, I saw some scouting reports where teams were saying, oh, well, he's an RPO guy or he can't do pro-style stuff. Well, then become an RPO team. I mean, one of the lessons of the last 5 years of football is if you take a guy and build around what he can do well, you will win. And I think that's going to take some creativity from the offensive coordinator. I mean, this is the lesson of Lamar Jackson. I went to Baltimore in January, and I asked a couple of guys around that locker room, I said, hey, listen, there's not going to be a next Lamar Jackson, but what can we learn from Lamar? And Robert Griffin, I remember saying this, he said, the lesson is just take what a guy can do well, and you can thrive, and you can run any offense as long as you believe in it. And with Tua, maybe he can't do everything, but he can run an RPO maybe better than anybody in the history of the college game. So just do that over and over again. I think the hip will be fine. I think there's a lot of questions about the offensive programs and training camp and how this all plays out. I think you're getting a franchise guy if you get Tua, and I think that I'm with you. Do not overthink this. He is the guy.
Kevin Clark of The Ringer, NFL writer, and I always enjoy following you on Twitter right here on the Rich Eisen Show. So how many quarterbacks do you think go tonight? What do you think?
I think it's 4. And I think that's only because I think there's a lot of good teams. I think probably 27 or 28 teams have plans at quarterback, which is pretty high considering how desperate a lot of – this is a league where Mike Glennon got $45 million a couple of years ago, right? And I think that once Herbert comes off the board, obviously probably in the top 10, Jordan Love's going to be dangling there. And I think a team we're not thinking about who has a plan at quarterback, who has a starter, might say, hey, let's just save for the future here. I've seen him mocked at Green Bay a handful of times. There are some really smart people. A team like that who is set at quarterback who might want to stash it away for a rainy day and have a young quarterback and start the development process. I think that's how that plays out. I would guess 4.
And then that would be Love going where and when? What do you think?
I'm going to agree with some of the smart people and say I would not be surprised if Green Bay doesn't start planning.
Really? Aaron Rodgers isn't close to 40. He's in his mid-30s.
I agree with you.
He's not close to done.
That organization.
That means you're gonna Aaron Rodgers, Jordan Love. Is basically it.
Yeah, exactly. That's the circle of life.
I understand what the circle of life is, Kevin, but and I understand that football is so crazy that that Aaron Rodgers, end of his Packers career, he could be in the role of Favre, and then somebody is in the role of Aaron Rodgers, but that makes no sense to me for a team that has not. This is one fact, Chris, that I don't know if you saw on the mock draft last night with Daniel Jeremiah. The last time the Packers chose an offensive player in the first round, told Aaron Rodgers, here's some help on offense with a first rounder, was the year after they won the Super Bowl with him. And they chose an offensive lineman whose name escapes me now from Mississippi State who played 4 years in the league. And they've gone defense first round every year since then. So you're telling me they will finally add an offensive player through the first round, but it's the guy to replace Aaron Rodgers? I think
it's within the realm of possibility. Listen, one of the Packers are really into athleticism and drafting really good athletes. And I think that's part of the reasons they've always gone. They've gone with a lot of cornerbacks, a lot of defensive linemen, that sort of thing. They like to draft those kind of athletes in the first round. That was true of Ted Thompson. It's now true of Brian Gutekunst. And I just think that there's a possibility we see a curveball like that. Am I 100%? Daniel Jeremiah was the first person to sort of throw this out there that Love could be a possibility for a team like the Packers. I just think that when you're a smart organization, and I think the Packers are, you understand the value of having a quarterback plan and a quarterback pipeline. They're paying Aaron Rodgers a lot of money, historically high money. I think he made, $66 million in cash in 1 year, 2 years ago. And they're committed to him. But I think that, I remember something Jeffrey Lurie said to me once where they don't, in the Eagles facility, they don't even call it the backup quarterback. They call it the second quarterback because he's always going to play. And that's something that, Nick Foles, revealed that in the Super Bowl. but I feel like having a plan for a smart team is always a good thing.
I hear you. And I guess we might find out what the Saints' ultimate evaluation of Taysom Hill is if they pass on Jordan Love tonight. And he's still sitting out there in the 20s, and Jordan's on my show. He's the next guest on this show. Kevin, you ask interesting questions for a living. What would you want to know from Jordan Love?
Wow. I mean, I would want to know, and this is completely, whether or not he would answer this is a separate thing, but I'm really intrigued to see what he thinks about this offseason and whether or not what the realistic goals are, considering there's going to be no rookie minicamp, considering there's going to probably be no veteran minicamp in June, and there might not be a training camp that we're used to that starts on, rookies reporting July 24th and all that. And I think that that's going to change a lot for rookies. And remember, this happened in 2011 with the lockout where there was no offseason, and everyone said, well, the rookie class is screwed. Well, then Cam Newton comes out and has a historically good year. J.J. Watt, A.J. Green, Julio Jones, all those guys came in that year and everything was fine. But for a guy who needs a little more development like Jordan Love, who would come into a system and try to learn it and try to get on the same page, does this put him a little bit behind the eight ball? Because I can't help but think it does. And I think that's also part of the reason we might see a team with a quarterback plan go with a guy like Jordan Love, because it's going to take an extra year maybe to work him into the system with the way this offseason is going to go.
All right. Kevin Clark of The Ringer here on the Rich Eisen Show. A few more minutes left with him and helping me do my job, make it easier for me later on in the show. I mean, that'll be an interesting question to ask him for sure. And then there's the comparisons to Mahomes that everybody keeps throwing out there. We're going to talk about unfair. I don't know what's more unfair, Burrow is the next Brady or Love is the next Mahomes. I don't know what's more unfair, but I've heard both of those evaluations. Yeah,
and it's funny because Mahomes was such a unique prospect, and scouts missed on him for so many different reasons. One of them is he was so competitive that he was throwing, he felt he had to score 70 points every game, which he kind of did at Texas Tech. And so he was making some maybe more competitive passes than he should have, maybe some more 50-50 balls than he should have. But I think that because Mahomes was kind of a flawed prospect in some ways. And because of that, more people are going to get compared to Mahomes than probably should. I mean, it almost reminds me a little bit of Brett Favre when he was in his prime, Rich, where because he was not perfect on every throw, everybody coming out of college got compared to Brett Favre. It was actually kind of funny, and I think that's probably going to happen with Mahomes a little bit because of the way he was as a prospect.
Okay. Kevin Clark here on the Rich Eisen Show. What else do you think we're talking about tomorrow? Have we hit everything? I mean, the receivers are fascinating, where they all go. I mean, Daniel Jeremiah in his mock draft had them all going in a row, a run from 12 to 15 tonight. That every single team, from the Raiders, Niners, Bucks to the Broncos, take the top receivers. Where do you think they go?
I think there's going to be a run on tackles in the top 10, and then the receivers. I'm with you. That run in the mid-teen starts. This is the deepest receiver class in history, and there's a million reasons for that. Everyone talks about the 7-on-7s and how the receivers are just better athletes than they were 10, 15 years ago. But I think that there are smart teams who understand that you can get value in the second or third round. But I think the Alabama guys will go in the mid-teens. I think there's so much game-changing talent throughout the draft with receivers. I think once one goes, the others will go. Same with tackles, but that'll be in the top 10. It's a really deep draft at a couple positions, and I'm really intrigued to see how that plays out.
Yeah, I know. It's exciting, man. It's exciting. And I know there was a large pushback in the talent evaluation community when it was first thrown out there, like, hey, this is going to happen. So everybody get ready. This is going to happen. And everybody has gotten ready. Your ear to the ground. Have you heard people still grumbling about this thing? It seems that there is some grumbling because it took about all of 10 seconds for someone to text Schefter what a holy mess the Monday run through was. So I'm wondering what you hear, Kevin.
Yeah, I think GMs are starting to get a handle on this, and now they're kind of excited in the same way they're always excited. I talked to Brandon Beane last week, the Bills GM, and he was talking about how normally you get the prospects in the building and you get to interact with them, and he was worried you weren't going to be able to get the same read on a guy. Is the guy a jerk? Is he going to stare at his phone? Is he going to be unreliable? And you're going to miss that part of it. And Beane told me, well, actually, the guys who would have missed their flight last year, they're just not showing up for their Zoom calls. or they're not responding to texts from GMs who want to set up an appointment or whatever. And so you're not really missing a whole lot from the eval process. I think GMs who want as much information as possible were always uncomfortable with the idea that they were going to miss some pieces. I think they're understanding how to get that information now in a different way. I think the people who were against it, who at the beginning of this process are still against it, but not 100% against it. I think most people are like Brandon Bean, where they've learned to understand the new reality of it, and they're okay with this whole thing, and they understand this can be a normal draft, picks-wise, if not, work-wise. So
are you saying that missing a Zoom call or not responding to texts from a general manager in the NFL being sent to a prospect immediately, or if at all, that's the new red flag in the evaluation? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I mean, it's part of it. It's part of it, and it's funny because, Rob Gronkowski visited the Patriots, 9 years ago and fell asleep in his meeting, his pre-draft meeting. Famously, Bill Belichick has told that story on the NFL Network.
Yep.
And so I think that it is a red flag to have a bad visit. And even though it's not, obviously not fatal, and I think that in lieu of flights and talking to the driver, how they treat the driver is always a big thing at these things. You're not going to get that. So the closest thing you're going to get to that in this process is, did they get on the Zoom call at the time they were going to? Bean told me that there were guys who had 3 Zoom calls set up with 3 different people in the organization. They didn't show up for any of them. So that is the new red flag in this new reality.
You're laughing over there, huh?
Could you imagine just not showing up?
This
is your job. This is like a job interview, but you can't do it remote. So you're doing it remotely, and you're just like, I'm just going to blow it off.
Have you heard, Kevin, have you heard maybe that there's a red flag because a prospect accidentally shared their screen and showed what was on their screen? Hit the screen share button.
We haven't seen that yet, but it's only. I mean, listen, it's only a matter of time until that story. Listen, there have been thousands of Zoom calls during this pre-draft process. I'm sure one guy accidentally shared his screen. I mean, there were a couple. John Schneider said this on the conference call the other day. One guy was just in bed the whole time, just hanging out and watching TV and just talking to the Seahawks. So this is these guys are getting a new perspective on some of these prospects, and again, you can learn a lot about them.
So
that's amazing.
Give me some more information on that one with Schneider. Is that somebody's zooming in and they're just like, I'm not getting out of bed for you?
Yeah, he said it in a press conference yesterday. Schneider did. So I guess it's just guys who are saying, you know what? Hey, it's work from home. I'll have, I'm in my sweatpants. No need to move. No need to move for my pre-draft.
By the way, and that's the team, the mantra, always compete. That might be out of all 30, well, the Belichick, do your job. How many teams that's a bad team to choose to just not get out of bed for your Zoom. Is say to Pete Carroll, yeah, I know you look at absolutely everything that I do is my desire to whether you want to compete. And then because we'll give you a chance if you do buy in to always compete. Just look at our quarterback. Right? Look at Shaq Griffin, and the kid doesn't get out of bed or out of his sweatpants. Bad choice. That's a bad choice.
Yeah. Schneider did mention in the press conference that there were people who wore ties to their pre-draft call.
I do that.
Of course,
professional.
The exact opposite.
Hey, I'll share with you, Kevin. Last night, I did an entire show on NFL Network from my desk left position in my office, suit and tie, suited, but not booted. I was wearing shorts the entire time. No one has to know. I mean, I just shared that, but no one knows. Waist up, I'm a pro. Waist down, not so much. That's just the way to go.
Yeah, we all have our little. When I go on camera, I wore a tie a couple weeks ago.
Yes.
And there were a lot of people who were very mad at me about this. They were saying, "Hey, man, this is not the time for ties."
Kevin Clark here on the Rich Eisen Show.
Kevin, it's a time for designer jackets.
There you go.
Let's go.
Fantastic. I love it.
Exactly.
By the way,
it's always time for designer jackets.
That's the photo we're showing right there.
That's what I'm talking about.
Is that what? I mean, that is leather.
It looks like leather in the
photo. That's a snap at the top. This is very impressive. That is very impressive. Before I let you go, what are you expecting in episodes 3 and 4 of The Last Dance on Sunday? What are you expecting?
Oh my gosh. I'm expecting, well, first of all, I'm from Orlando, so I view this purely through the Orlando Magic prism. I'm hoping that he doesn't embarrass them anymore, even though he did during his career. I'm just expecting more insight. I mean, the Rodman episode is going to happen, I guess, this is the first episode. I mean, this is one of the best things that I've ever consumed in sports. It's not a game. So I'm just expecting Jordan making fun of more people, owning more people, and some more shots at Jerry Krause.
Well, I mean, I loved your tweet saying that somewhere there's a member of the 84-85 Bulls telling their loved ones in the living room they were not part of the cocaine circus.
Next level.
That was hilarious.
But it's true. Could you imagine? And Warren Sharp, the football analytics guy, he's so smart. He said they're also in quarantine, so they can't even leave the house.
That's right.
Like if your wife or your child is like, what happened in 1984, Dad? And he's like, I don't know. You can't. You just have to sit there in the living room and just kind of explain. You can't even say, oh, I got to go to the store real quick. You can't even buy some time.
That is true. It's just you're sitting there, hey, everybody, here, let's just all sit back and watch the greatest player that Dad ever played with. Dad or Uncle played with Michael. Let's just sit down and see what they say about the first year. Or they knew it was coming, and they're like, yeah, for some reason, we can't get ESPN. There must be some sort of there must be some sort of rights fee battle that's going on right there.
Is like, no,
what's happening?
Login got
I don't
changed.
understand. Suddenly the power's out. Oh man, good chat, Kevin. Thanks for the time. We will chat with you next week and maybe get your thoughts on what we see tonight and the rest of the weekend. Thanks for the time.
Thank you so much, Rich. Anytime.
That's it. That's Kevin Clark right here on the Rich Eisen Show from The Ringer, from Simmons Ringer. Great perspective right there, man. Do you own or rent your home? Of course you do. So it's hard work, and let Geico make it a lot easier for you. That's what we're all looking for right now, is making things so much easier. Bundle your policies with Geico. Geico makes things easy to bundle your homeowners or renters insurance along with your auto policy. It's a good thing, too, because you already have so much to do around your home. Go to geico.com, get a quote, and see how much you could save. It's Geico easy. Visit geico.com today. That's geico.com.
Geico.
Yeah, Belichick told that story about Gronk during the NFL 100 all-time team show. When Gronk's up, being named one of the members of the all-time team, and I think I asked him, like his first time he met Gronk, he saw Gronk, he said that Gronk came in for the team meeting and went in the room that they were going to meet in New England and fell asleep on the floor. They walk in, and there he is, asleep on the floor. Now, you could sit there and say, that's what a terrible thing to do with Bill Belichick. Bill was around Lawrence Taylor, and I'm sure, Bill told this story about LT on the broadcast as well, when LT was sitting there saying that he's the defensive coordinator back in the day for the Parcells Giants.
Right.
Lawrence Taylor is late for the meeting.
Of course.
And they, started it. And Belichick saw him come in late for the meeting, went to Parcells afterwards, and said to Bill, LT was late for the meeting. Just want to let you know that. And he said Parcells' response was, why the hell didn't you wait for LT to start the meeting? Okay.
Hey, Parcells always said, man, the special players get treated differently.
And you make the evaluation the same way. Now, maybe that could have cost, along with his back issues, Gronk a first-round slot? Maybe. I don't know. But when it came around for the second, Bill was on it. Bill was on it. 844-204-RICH is the number to dial. Let's take some phone calls. Phone lines are filled, and then we'll take some also in the next hour. First in, first up, David in Nashville, Tennessee. You're here on the Rich Eisen Show. What's up, David?
Hey, Rich. How you doing?
I am well, sir.
Hey, I had the pleasure of meeting you guys and being in your studio audience last year at the draft.
Okay.
And I just wanted to find out from you guys, what was your high point and your low point from the draft in Nashville last year?
Low point from the draft in Nashville last year. I don't think there was one.
I didn't have one.
The high point, I will tell this to you, David. The high point was, Chris, I know you're out of your seat. You're doing some arts and crafts. What was the name of the karaoke place we went to?
Oh.
Santa's Pub. Okay. That was in East Nashville. Is that where that was? You know where Santa's Pub is, David? There in Nashville,
Santa's
Tennessee?
Pub?
Yes. Yeah. We went.
I think you're right. I think that is East Nashville.
Okay, so we went there. We got in an Uber. And for all of us to fit in it, we called for an Uber that had to be large enough, right? We wanted the XL or whatever. So a minivan showed up.
Yes.
We all got in the minivan, and Del Tufo, of course, Mr. Uber rating himself,
Front seat.
gets in the front seat.
Yep.
We're all in the back, and at that point, you turn to your right, Mike, right? And then
I saw this like light thing.
You turn to your right, and you saw
this little light,
and you asked what it is, right?
and he goes, "Yeah."
Hold on, puts on the radio, and a disco ball lights up.
The whole.
And so we're blasting disco music, and there's a disco ball
I bought one.
sitting, and then you bought it
From
because
the
you
guy.
saw that you could plug it in, and it
used it.
sits there in between the passenger and the front
Yeah,
seat.
it would go in your car.
And that's how we got all the way to Santa's Pub.
That place
And
was
then,
awesome.
for us sitting out here in Southern California, where,
videos
in
from
many
that.
places, you forget about smoking indoors. You can't even smoke outdoors in some of these establishments. We go in, and it's like a double. It's like two trailers,
Yeah, it's
right?
a double
Next to-
wide trailer,
Double
yeah.
wide.
Double
One
wide.
trailer is smoking, the other one's non-smoking.
Yeah.
But, there's no wall in between the two trailers. So it was just a fascinating night, which does lead me to the low point. And the low point was the two rules were
Yes.
you can't drink when you're up there, right?
Yep.
And no cursing.
No cursing.
And Del Tufo walks up with a drink when it's his time to sing and curses, which he
Immediately.
never does.
First thing
into
out
a
of his
microphone.
mouth.
I said, "How you guys doing?"
And efforts. You just worked blue and
First thing
drunk.
out of your mouth.
Like you blew both rules
I mean,
on the spot. And then, of course, the whole week was amazing with Nashville. In the
was
rotation,
so
like a
good.
Super Bowl city that should be in the
good.
draft rotation every year.
So the
David.
sign says no beer, no cursing, no cigarettes. That's it. 3 rules.
I didn't have
Okay.
beer. I didn't have cigarettes.
Okay.
One.
Should I tweet
2
this?
out of 3 ain't
Wait,
bad.
should I tweet this video, Rich, of you doing Sinatra right now?
Oh, sure. That's fine. From Santa's Pub, right?
I have it.
amazing.
The
Right
problem
here.
is here's the problem. Thanks for the call, David. Here's the problem. When you post karaoke videos.
I know. I'm not going to.
Yeah.
No. Here's the problem. When you post karaoke videos, you don't get the true ambiance of the room, and the audio sounds terrible because it sounds like it's a microphone coming out of a speaker through a cell phone, and it does not sound like I'm in tune. And it basically sounds like I'm totally hammered, which might have been the case late in the night. But I also tapped out early. If
Yeah,
you
you
remember.
cut out early. You
Yeah,
cut out
because
early.
I had a
to work.
draft. The
Yeah,
last thing I'm
yeah.
going to do is show up like, "Hey, welcome to the NFL Draft."
Yeah, you cut out early.
We,
That was a great night.
that was a great
That
night.
was a great night.
So, did you just tell me, Don, we have a new guest for the top of the? Okay, CeeDee Lamb is going to join us at the top of the next hour.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're coming on the air. We're going to hit CeeDee Lamb, and then we've got the whole second segment to kind of delve into everything that's going on, right?
Exactly.
And then we got Jordan Love. Okay, so we may have the top receiver taken, and then the quarterback that's going to have the wildest night tonight. Okay. Aside from Tua, I don't think he's going to have a wild night, Don. Don's like, aside from Tua, I don't think so, man.
You don't? DJ had him going 6.
I know, but there's no way the Chargers passed that up. There's no way.
That's the spot.
There's
I
no
like
way.
that for him.
That's why they did what they did. They YOLO'd Brady. They hung on to Tyrod Taylor to the point where they're not signing one of these guys like a veteran of note. 2 former first overall picks are sitting out there saying, "Hey, I've got a ton of miles, but yes, I've got a ton of ability still. I just threw for 5,000 yards last year," says Jameis. "Oh, I'm a former MVP of the league who's got a chip on his shoulder," and says Cam. And then there's Tua sitting out there with a huge upside. Sold.
I'm making that the poll today. Who takes Tua tonight? Dolphins, Chargers, put the Patriots in there, the field.
Or, no, I think what you should say is here's 3. Here's your options. Or unless you already posted it already.
I mean, it's a quick delete. I just did it.
No, it's like who takes Tua tonight? Dolphins, Chargers, or he drops. Just put he drops.
Okay. All right. At Rich Eisen Show.
Dude,
Twitter.
the Patriots are not taking him.
No, I know, but it's been a rumor.
There's no chance unless he falls to 23. New England's not moving up. I don't think that would totally shock me.
I don't think it's happening. Dolphins, Chargers. He falls.
Should I ask Robert Kraft that when he joins the
100%.
NFL Draft-a-thon pre-show with me, Dion, and Kevin Hart?
You absolutely should do that.
With a picture.
With a picture of Bob
This is how it's going to go. This is how it's going to go. I come on the air with Dion and Kevin Hart at 7:30 Eastern. Strahan's the first to join us, and then Robert Kraft. So at one point, that'll be the Zoom room. And yesterday, Robert Kraft was part of the rehearsal. He zoomed in. I'm sorry. He joined us in the draft-a-thon room. There are some apparently sensitivities of corporate America, but he joined us in this draft-a-thon room. Chat room, whatever.
Two-tone shirt, pink power tie.
No,
what was
it was
the setup for Bob?
chilled out in his house, and it was great. And Susie said hello because they go way back. You know, Susie's a Bostonian. She's known him for a long time. And maybe I should ask Robert Kraft that. Hey, if Tua drops, what do you think? I have a feeling he's just going to let Bill handle that tonight. Okay? I just have a feeling he's going to handle that tonight.
Yeah.
All right, I've got to. I'm zooming right now. I am FaceTiming with Tirico, right? Because that's how we're going to roll here. I'm gonna FaceTime into the end of Lunch Talk Live on NBCSN.
Love it.
And then we will take a break, and then we will come on the air for our second hour. But first on NBCSN, I will set the stage. CeeDee Lamb will join us for a few. Then we will take a break, and then everybody that's on the phone lines right now, we're taking your calls. How does that sound? Before Jordan Love joins us, then David Shaw and Eric Stonestreet, who, like Billy Gardell, is a grown-ass man. He's got a landline. All right? It's
Like
not like
us,
these
Rich.
millennials who don't have landlines. Dude.
I don't have a landline.
Please.
I mean, it's
You live in Southern California. You need a
I
landline.
mean, landlines are like, they were the history of being
Guys.
a kid for me and you, Rich.
guys. It's 2020. No cash.
All right.
No landlines.
Always have cash.
And you don't even need
and
to
I have
own
a
your own
landline.
car because you
Yeah.
can get around
No, you got to have landline.
with
Was like
Uber and Lyft. You know what I mean?
the best part about landlines were in the
Yes.
old days, like when we were kids, which was great, which I always remember. A landline, you had one in your house.
TJ, bring that pedestal over,
And-
will you, please?
Everyone you knew had that number and knew that number. I don't know anyone's numbers now.
Yes, agreed. You know what the other
That's
good part
true, by
about
the
the
way.
landline is?
I don't know anyone's numbers.
The good part about the
Right.
landline was it was roulette. When the phone rang, it could be anybody.
Right.
True.
You didn't know who was calling
That's
you.
the other thing until you had caller ID. I had the first caller ID, which I
It
loved.
was just ring and it was hello and it was like you had no idea who was calling.
Exactly.
It could be your grandmother.
Yep.
It could be your friend. It could be the teacher. You're in trouble.
Or the
Could
girlfriend
be
you wanted to
anything.
go out on a date with. When I
What
was
is
a kid.
that? What is
That
that?
girlfriend that I wanted to go out on a
Exactly.
date with that never called me.
Okay.
Could be
Man,
somebody
never
calling you,
But
trying to holla,
It was the
holla.
best.
You know what I'm saying? It could be anybody.
the landline, the first caller ID I had, I'll never forget. I told no one I had it.
Call away to me. What do you mean?
You could see
of course.
somebody was calling.
Yes.
I had the first, I was probably one of the first people to have it on my own number. And
Was
I
it like the
remember-
little box?
Yes, it
You
was
had
a
to
little
plug in the box.
Plug in the
Oh, yeah.
box between
I remember
the
a
phone.
buddy of mine got caller ID. It was like the coolest thing
amazing.
ever.
And then three-way calling was another great one.
Right.
Call
Landlines.
waiting. Remember when call
And
waiting
then call
started?
waiting existed with the little
And the little
beep,
boop,
beep, beep, boop, beep, beep.
Oh, yeah. Good stuff, guys. I
had some-
appreciate that. I
Well,
know you're
we
vamping because I'm
vamped,
trying to.
Rich.
We're feeling, 'cause
I know.
we're working.
I
We-
know.
come
I
on,
know.
we
Look,
gotta do it.
Look, our friends at Sirius XM at Channel 211, Dan Patrick Radio. So every now and then I'm going to be FaceTiming into Mike Tirico, and you can sort of hear. Why can't I mute? They won't. I cannot go all the way down on my volume button.
Why not?
On a
It doesn't
FaceTime.
mute all the way-
I don't know. Like you hear right now,
I had a
Tirico's
problem
talking to
the other
Florio
day.
What
on
about,
NBC.
what about on the screen? Is there a mute button on the screen?
I don't
No.
believe so.
On
No,
a
there
face-
is, but that's for me.
That's for him.
That's for me. Tirico's throwing a
Oh,
break.
but
everybody.
you can't mute
No, you
Mike.
can't mute the
That's what you're
incoming.
saying.
The incoming.
Excuse me. Nobody mutes Mike Tirico.
Huh.
I mean, he's a Syracuse guy. I know you respect.
Obviously.
There's respect.
Nobody puts Mike Tirico in a corner. I just used those phrases. The pedestal's working. Yeah, it's working. See, I'm just putting it right there.
Oh, look at that thing.
Yeah,
we love it. This is
there we go. But it doesn't stay put. By the way, this sound. How old do I sound like right now?
Not a day over 49.
Oh, stop it. We'll figure this out. Hold on. I got to rest it. There we go.
Here,
I
see?
have figured
This
it
is
out.
the exclusive YouTube
I
content.
have
This is
figured
what we
it
came
out.
for.
That the 454s are here for.
I've tilted it.
We're
okay,
here for
I'm
this.
good. It's a little crooked, Don. I'm going to get it right. I'm just going to get it right. There we go. There I am. I'm on with Tirico right now in a second. So CeeDee Lamb's going to join us. And that's
CeeDee Lamb, yeah.
CeeDee Lamb's going to join
Five
us.
past
Same
one.
people that brought us Isaiah Simmons yesterday.
Indeed.
Okay. Old Spice is going to bring us CeeDee Lamb. We'll chat with him, get a little sense of what his draft day is going to be like. Jordan Love will be on the show. That's the next two guests. CeeDee Lamb and Jordan Love. And you at 844-204-RICH, number to dial. David Shaw of Stanford. He will be joining us. And Eric Stonestreet. Smoke him if you got him.
Ooh, yeah.
I don't think... I think that the Niners are going to... Here's my prediction.
Okay.
Screw it. I'll wait.
All right. We got a minute.
We also have two...
Don't tilt it forward because it's going to fall.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Like the phone might fall forward.
forward,
and
yeah.
then
You
you'll
mean go that way?
Yes.
Like ass over tea kettle?
No,
Yeah.
into you.
Oh, no, we're good. We're good.
Okay.
We're good.
I'm just
Donnie, Rich.
I'm just relaying
What are you
what I've
touching
been
it
told.
for?
Relaying what I've been told.
Everybody doesn't want to touch it. All right, don't touch it.
don't
Don't touch it. I'm just going to leave it alone.
Don't touch it.
Everybody just back off right now. They're hearing me in Stanford, Connecticut right now. I think they hear me. Tarico's in commercial break. Everybody just take a breath. Let's all meditate.
Woosah.
It's draft night.
Woosah.
It's draft night. I mean,
By
come
the
on.
way,
It's draft
By
night,
the
man.
way, I also have 61 pages of who's on the show tonight. Yes, that's how it goes.
Wow.
Okay, so when we come back, we will be joined by the NBCSN crowd that I'm about to join live on Lunch Talk Live with Mike Tirico. And the guests will be CeeDee Lamb, Jordan Love, David Shaw, Eric Stonestreet, and you. 844-204-RICH. We're on YouTube.com/Rich Eisen Show, and you are listening to us live on Dan Patrick Radio, channel 211. We're back with you and the NBCSN crew in a moment.
Let's go.
So you ready for the draft? Let's get started.
This is the Rich Eisen Show.
The Cincinnati Bengals select.
Live from the Rich Eisen Show studio in Los Angeles.
We want Belichick.
Did you text Bill?
Yeah.
Yes
Oh,
or
no.
No way. This is why I don't listen to you two schmohawks.
Earlier on the show, the Ringer NFL writer Kevin Clark. Still to come, Utah State quarterback Jordan Love. Stanford head coach David Shaw. Plus Emmy Award-winning actor Eric Stonestreet. And now, it's Rich Eisen.
We have ourselves a draft day show right here on the Rich Eisen Show, welcoming in the audience that's joining us now on NBCSN every day from 1 to 3 Eastern Time. From noon to 3 Eastern, you can catch us on our YouTube stream, youtube.com/Rich Eisen Show. Please subscribe and check us out every single day with your eargate, to use the Michael Irvin phrase, on Sirius Channel XM. Sirius XM channel 211 every single day. And first up is going to be one of the top prospects available in tonight's draft, CeeDee Lamb of Oklahoma football, the wide receiver, according to Daniel Jeremiah, with whom I mock drafted live on NFL Network last night from my desk corner left position, stage 2 in my home office.
Well done.
Stage 1, my right corner desk position in my home office. That's where I will be tonight on NFL Draft-a-thon Live. It'll be me, it'll be Deion Sanders, and it will be Kevin Hart together to kick this thing off at 7:30 Eastern Time tonight, 1/2 hour before the commissioner of the NFL puts the Cincinnati Bengals on the clock from his home basement. Join the three of us, and the guest list after Kevin Hart, just for tonight alone, is remarkable, and I will bring it to you. I have printed all of the information from NFL Network researcher Bill Smith has provided me for tonight's broadcast. It is 61 pages large for the guest list just tonight alone. And it'll be on NFL Twitter and Facebook and Twitch and YouTube. It'll be on the NFL app, NFL.com, in Reddit, Yahoo. You can't miss us. You can't miss us. Tom Brady, Russell Wilson, just one of the first guests that will be joining us, and it'll all be together in the same chat room. Travis Kelce will spend the entire first hour of the draft with us. The us again being me and Deion Sanders all night long together, just welcoming in so many different people from the pop culture landscape, walks of life, football, entertainment, video games, music, television, movies, all to try and raise as much money as possible for 6 charities that have been identified by the NFL and are there to receive your funds as much as you're willing to give. NFL.com/relief is the website. We'll be mentioning it throughout this show today and tomorrow, because we'll be doing the NFL Draft-a-thon tomorrow as well, starting at 7 Eastern Time. Wait till I tell you the first 2 guests that will be together on that front. It's amazing. And NFL.com/relief is the place to be in support of COVID-19 relief efforts, helping those on the front line battling it and those who are suffering from it. That's all tonight and tomorrow and Saturday. Chris Brockman, good to see you in your post position.
What's happening?
Good to see you, Mike Del Tufo,
Good to see
my
you, Rich.
producer and audio executive, respectively.
Ready to rock,
every
baby.
day with me here on the Rich Eisen Show. There's lots going on outside of these walls, emanating from home draft positions throughout the entire NFL evaluation community, general managers, owners, coaches. The Dolphins, so much swirling around them, lots of rumors swirling around them about potentially moving up all the way to 1 overall. But we're putting a pin in that while also collecting all your phone calls at 844-204-RICH. I want to hear from you on this draft day, on which CeeDee Lamb will become a member of a team in the National Football League, and he has been kind enough to join us here on behalf of Old Spice here on the Rich Eisen Show. Good to chat with you, CeeDee Lamb. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
Are the butterflies flying in your stomach right now? How are you feeling?
Oh yeah, they're having a great meeting for sure.
Are they? Is it a Zoom meeting in there? Are they zooming in just like you've been
like
zooming?
Zoom, Skype, everything.
How many teams have you spoken to, do you think, CeeDee?
I've spoken to roughly about 10.
Okay. And what do they basically want to know from you?
Just the person I am off the field, and what do I bring to the table?
What do you bring to the table?
Great competitiveness, loyalty to the team, and I'm always going to be respectful. I'm a guy from high respect. I definitely take my job seriously, and I can't wait for an opportunity.
Now, CeeDee, if you are drafted as high as people expect you to be drafted tonight, and you have a shorter night potentially than others, what will it mean to you? What will it mean to you when you finally have that dream come true and you get a phone call tonight and you're in the NFL? What will that mean?
It would mean a lot to me. It would mean the world itself. Just know that I'm able to have the opportunity to play with the best of the best, and also just all the hard work that I've been doing before pre-draft and just throughout the draft process, and even before that, all through high school, middle school, all the AAU stuff that I would join, all that's kind of paying off for me to be in this position I am right now. And it's definitely a great feeling to feel when you've been through a lot of work and a lot of tough times in your life.
So, how tough were the times for those who may not know your story, CeeDee?
It's been very difficult. Losing family members, to family getting sick, your family breaking up. It's a lot that ties into it, and just staying hungry and just keeping the same mindset throughout it all. I feel like it speaks volume on my end, and I feel like I've done a great job.
Well, who's helped you stay grounded? Who's helped you keep your head screwed on right so you have this opportunity in the NFL tonight? Walk me through those
Honestly,
people.
At the end of the day, I feel like it's a mindset of your own. So a lot of people could tell me that, it's not good for me to be here or that, but at the end of the day, I'm going to make my own decisions. And I feel like I've done a great job of just listening to myself and all the outside people, all the people that have told me, you know what I'm saying, just stay out of trouble and all that, which I've done a great job in doing. And up to this point, this is the reward. And I can't wait to feel the whole feeling,
And you're from the great state of Louisiana is where you were born, correct? So how did you get to Oklahoma, CeeDee?
Houston. I went from Houston and started playing football. I took football a lot seriously. Obviously, in Texas, football is definitely enhanced. But just kind of going from Louisiana to Houston, and just building off my family, and just kind of staying grounded, staying on the right path, and keeping the same mindset throughout all my ages of life, and just staying blessed, man. And that's what I've been doing up to this point, thanking God, giving Him all the praises when I'm doing good and bad, and just being myself every day.
Is it true that your family relocated to Houston because of Hurricane Katrina? That's how you wound up in the state of Texas, CeeDee Lamb?
Yes, sir. And then in 2008, I think, got hit with Hurricane Ike.
Again, just because to me, draft nights are about journeys, CeeDee. I mean, I could sit here and ask you about, your football abilities. We've seen that with our own two eyes. It really is about what beats inside and how you have handled your business and overcome obstacles to get to this point. What are your memories of Katrina? How old were you? Do you remember that, essentially? You there, CeeDee? You're blocking your phone right there.
I'm sorry. I was like 7 or 8. 7. I was like 9, actually.
Okay. So you definitely have some memories of that.
2005, I was 7. I was definitely 7 years old in 2005.
Okay.
But I was 7 years old, and it was rough. My roof was missing. It was flooded everywhere. Wind was going all over the place. Branches flying all over the place. It was a very scary moment, and I honestly can remember just not wanting to be a part of it anymore, just wanting to get out, wishing everything was fine. And at that point, I feel like I took life for granted before, just not enjoying. Even at a young age, I knew I had to enjoy every moment. But that any day it could be all taken away from me, and then that's kind of just Katrina set it off for me. And then getting hit with Hurricane Ike in 2008, I was about 10 years old, so a 2-year difference. And then boom, you get hit with another one. So 2-3 year difference, and then it's just like, wow, like, can I not run away from these things? Like, what's going on? Are they following me? There's just a lot of questions that you get.
And then you get to Oklahoma, and man, boy, do you play with some fantastic quarterbacks, CeeDee. I mean, fantastic quarterbacks that you play with. One of whom apparently has been pounding the table for their team to select you in the top 10. What conversations have you had with Kyler Murray of late, CeeDee?
Playing with K1, and then it's just been very different. I've learned a lot from him, simply just being the receiver that they favorite target, and kind of understanding the different types of quarterbacks, like play styles, and just guys what they're comfortable at, and then what they're not comfortable at. Just kind of trying to build on what their strong suits, and just trying to connect to one another.
Okay. CeeDee Lamb here on behalf of Old Spice, which is fans can make contributions of their own, just like Old Spice is going to be donating $320,000 to the United Way on behalf of CeeDee and rookies from all 32 teams to help young players begin their charitable efforts as soon as they join the league. I look forward to watching you get drafted tonight. CeeDee, walk me through who you're going to be with this evening when you get that phone call and you get this made official this evening.
I'm definitely going to be with my family, and my girlfriend's going to be in attendance for sure. But I'm just grateful for this opportunity, and I can't wait to fulfill this dream that I've been thinking about forever, and for it to just be here now, and I can't wait.
CeeDee, you take care of yourself. Thanks for the time. Good luck tonight, and we'll be chatting once you're on the other side of this, and then you're in the NFL, and I'd love to have you as a regular on this show.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it. Thank you.
You got it. That's CeeDee Lamb. According to Daniel Jeremiah, will be a Las Vegas Raider by the end of the night as the first wide receiver selected in this draft. I love stories.
Baby.
This is why I look, we love the draft for so many reasons. One, because it could mean anything for your team, right? For example, at this point last year, the team sitting second overall on the clock had a quarterback with a torn up knee coming back from the ACL surgery that we all know is very difficult to come back from. That team went to the Super Bowl last year. They draft Nick Bosa. They go and win the NFC and make the Super Bowl. From second overall to the Super Bowl. Tonight is about possibilities. Tonight is about glasses half full. Every person that gets drafted tonight, you as a fan, most likely will sit there and go, okay, we can win with this guy. Exciting for you. Also exciting for you is the guys that are drafted tonight, you have most likely watched play college football. The biggest of the big men on campus. You won't go and have to see Google somebody's film from the Adriatic to see how they can maybe fit in with your team. You know what I'm saying?
No, these are players we know. They're household names.
Correct. So that's what means for you as the fan. For me, sitting where I am, whether it's on a regular draft set like I normally would with, say, our first third-hour guest, David Shaw. He and I were supposed to be in Las Vegas, Nevada right now in a meeting for NFL Network getting ready for tonight's broadcast. Instead, David Shaw will be joining me on the show at the top of the third hour to evaluate people like Justin Herbert from Oregon, who he knows very well, rest of the quarterbacks class, everybody else. He's so terrific at this. And that's what I like to do. And tonight with the NFL Draft-a-thon live with Dion and the host of people that I will be announcing when we come back from a commercial break we're about to take. I just love stories. The dreams that come true tonight for these prospects. I mean, we know all about Joe Burrow's story, right? We read about stories of the top draft choices. And then CeeDee Lamb, kid from Louisiana. Hurricane Katrina upends his life, moves to Houston. Another hurricane hits. He's wondering what is going on in this world. Gets through it all. Head screwed on right. Gets to Oklahoma. Plays with Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, Jalen Hurts. Okay?
That ain't bad.
That's who he plays with. Balls out. And now his dream is about to come true. And it's in the middle of a pandemic, where he's got to Zoom in and Skype for interviews and doesn't go through all this. And knock on wood for him, he doesn't have a significant injury that he'd have to somehow, some way convince people to get through to draft him. What a story for just CeeDee Lamb alone. 844-204-RICH is the number to dial. Jordan Love is going to be our next guest on the phone line. That's at the end of this hour. So the rest of this hour is for you to call and have some conversations. I'm going to read out the guest list for tonight's NFL Draft-a-thon. It's 61 pages long in terms of notes, not names. But the names are incredible. I'm very proud of what the NFL is putting together for you to enjoy on social media while the draft is going on linear television on ESPN and NFL Network and ABC. Eric Stonestreet, who is one of the best football fans I know, also happens to be one of the most talented comic actors out there and one of the most talented actors out there. The Emmy Award winner from Modern Family joining us in the end of our show. But when we come back, 844-204-RICH, this draft day is for you. Hey, everybody, in our YouTube stream, youtube.com/454crew. How's everybody doing today?
What a do.
Probably nobody thought I was going to go lime green today, right?
Oh, no, that was off the board.
Did anybody comment on my sport coat yesterday? Anybody?
I didn't notice.
Nobody
Sport
talked
coat
about my
was only,
sport coat.
15-1.
That was your first
sport coat in a while.
sport coat foray.
I just felt like it. I just feel like it. I feel like it. Because then I go home and I dress like, and then I dress like I'm going to the gym. I'm going just like sweater, the sweater or the collared shirt.
Okay. Casual, a little more casual
Shorts?
than normal.
I don't know. I haven't thought about the lower half, but nobody's going to see it. My kids are going to be excited about some of the guests. I'm going to bring them into the room. For some. And because there's no bathroom breaks.
There's not.
No,
I mean, you're live.
I'm live the entire time.
You're live, yeah.
Yeah, but you can't just be like, hey, Kevin, can you handle this for like 3 minutes?
Well, first of all, Kevin's only on for the first half hour.
Oh, okay.
You know, it's not like, I'm doing a commercial for a pill or something like that about flow problems,
Right. Oh, hey,
So I should be
Travis Kelce, can you just handle this
Yeah,
for like
take
30
over.
seconds?
Dion's with me all night.
Okay, there you go.
All right.
I mean, he can handle it.
And then the first hour is with Kelce. Wait till you hear who the second hour's from. Who's going to be with me and Dion for the second hour of Draft-a-thon live. Look at that. These are just some of the names. I love how they put them in tuxes and the NFL social media. That's probably from
Honors,
the Honors, right?
Yeah,
From Honors.
Yeah. Looks like Honor.
That might be Tom from the Met
Met
Gala.
Gala. I was just going to say, that's Tom at Met Gala.
Yeah, I don't know if Tom's been to the NFL Honors.
No.
Remember
one year he won MVP, sent Edelman in his place.
Well, it was the night before the Super Bowl.
Yeah, he can't
that was
go to
the Eagles Super Bowl, right?
You were sitting next to me.
I was.
He was in Minnesota, and then he went LFG, which did not make the broadcast.
Yeah.
They sliced out the LFG.
Yeah. Because Edelman was like, he told me to say
I
LFG,
don't know
whatever
what that means.
that means.
I have no idea what that means. Yeah, Edelman. That was funny. That was funny.
That was a great night.
That was a great night. You were my +1.
I
You were
was.
my seat filler.
We sat behind Jerry Jones. And
in front of Jalen Ramsey.
And in front of Jalen
When
Ramsey.
I turned around, I'm like, hey, Jalen, just want to let you know, man, you're balling out so far. Now you're a big draft pick, 5th overall from Florida State, but you're not better row worthy than me just yet.
I
We were
think in
giving
the
him
fourth
grief.
row,
Oh,
we were up close.
We were giving him crap, talking smack.
Saw Ty Law on the way out. That was awesome.
Fun. Yeah. Okay, so phone calls 844-204-RICH. When we come back here on the Rich Eisen Show, don't go anywhere. Our poll question strikes at the very heart of tonight's drama for the 2020 NFL Draft. It is quite simple. The Dolphins are not on the clock to start. They might be, depending on a lot of the rumors that's flying around right now about them offering a Godfather package to the to the Bengals, as Mike Florio has called it on Pro Football Talk. In other words, that the Dolphins, with their 3 first-round picks that they have earned, they earned that 5th overall pick their own way.
They did.
And then they got an 18th overall from that. They got a first-round pick from Pittsburgh, which wound up being 18th overall. At the time, they probably thought, let's flip Minkah Fitzpatrick to Pittsburgh, who's just lost Big Ben for the year. They don't have Le'Veon Bell.
10.
They don't have Antonio Brown. That could be a great pick.
Yeah.
They didn't see Mike Tomlin's best coaching job of his career coming, and Duck Hodges doing what he did. So it's 18th overall. And then from Houston, 26th overall, because they flipped their left tackle and Kenny Stills to Houston on the last day of August, right before season, walking into the Dolphins locker room. Hey, everybody, we flipped our best lineman and the most important player to protect Josh Rosen, who we acquired for a second-rounder last year.
So that's a trade Bill O'Brien actually won?
I don't know. They might have had to trade away DeAndre Hopkins because you have to pay Laramie Tunsil with how much you've given up. You didn't sign him to a contract when you acquired him, like a lot of people thought they should have. So it's a big night for the Dolphins. And the question is what do they do with it? 3 first-round selections. What do they do with them? It's entirely possible they stay put and get a choice between Tua and Justin Herbert. It's entirely possible that they don't have to move anywhere, keep the draft capital, and still get the guy that they supposedly been tanking for ever since he looked off a safety against Georgia and won a national championship game in overtime, a game in which he entered at halftime. Okay? And then the legend grew, and who knew, though, that when Tua's time would come, the time that we all thought that the Dolphins or other teams would tank for him, we have finally gotten to that draft day. That draft day has arrived, and the circumstances under which Tua will be drafted is Tua coming off of what appears to be something he's recovered from, but serious hip surgery. And in your hip surgery or hip problems, you think immediately Bo Jackson. But apparently he's fine with it. He comes in with injury issues, question marks, that he can't fully answer because we're in the middle of a pandemic. Who could have scripted any of that? Outside of Steven Soderbergh, right? So
I think that's the working script about draft day 2.
I mean, it's really something you can't conceive until you actually live it. And Tua is. Our poll question that sits at Rich Eisen Show, Christopher, is what?
Yeah, so we're talking Tua, guys. Who takes Tua tonight? Dolphins, Chargers, or he drops?
He drops it? Yeah, I mean, and if he drops, it's anybody's ball game. I don't know who would take him. And you could fill up 10 other spots if he drops past 6.
Of course.
So
someone in the comments suggested the Broncos might be a sleeper team for Tua.
I don't think so at all. Drew Lock played very well last year.
I think so too, yeah.
And that's the last thing the Denver Broncos should do is upset that apple cart. They got other issues, man. They got to get a receiver and they got to get a lineman. They got to deal with that line and get the receivers. The running game's pretty damn good. I'll take that. Phillip Lindsay and Melvin Gordon for starters.
Well, they're taking a wide receiver for sure.
Well, unless they trade up for a lineman that they adore.
True. But they're going to have to get in the top 10.
I think so. Or before the Jets, which is the top 10. 844-204-RICH is the number to dial. Let's take some phone calls. Who's been waiting the longest right here? David in Louisiana. What's up, David? You're on the Rich Eisen Show.
Hey, Rich. Love the show.
Thanks, David. Thanks for the call.
Love the sweater, too.
Hey, I appreciate it. It's lime green for those listening on Sirius XM 211.
Velvet?
It is not velvet, sir.
It is not socially acceptable, I mean.
It is not velvet.
Crushed velvet.
It's not. But I appreciate the question. Never been asked
I got
of me.
a hypothetical question.
Okay.
With the uncertainty of everything going on today, what's the possibility of any NFL team just getting everything else but a quarterback and looking forward to next year with Trevor Lawrence?
You know what? It's an interesting question, David. I tweeted that out half joking during Trevor Lawrence's run through the Ohio State defense for about 70 yards for a breathtaking score that helped change things around for Clemson in that game, that half of the NFL just decided to tank the 2020 season. And thank you for the call. We had Albert Breer on earlier this week on our youtube.com/Rich Eisen Show hour that we feed out, we stream out before we enter the NBCSN arena at 1 Eastern every day. And Albert pegged the Jaguars as that team. That the Jaguars, amongst league circles, are the team that's going to be preparing themselves for Trevor Lawrence in any way they possibly can. They're sitting there 9th tonight. Daniel Jeremiah in his mock draft that I did live on NFL Network last night from stage 2 of my office, which is the left corner of my desk. He says that the Falcons trade up, Jacksonville trades down, get some more draft capital. Keep an eye on all of that. Let's now go back. Let's go to Andrew in Wisconsin. What's up, Andrew? You're on the Rich Eisen Show.
Hey, Andrew. How you doing?
What's up,
bud? Sorry.
That's all good.
We talked about you a few weeks ago, and you gave me a hard time about Isaiah Simmons. I'm a Buck fan.
Yeah, but the Bucks aren't. The Bucks are. The reason why I gave you a little bit of grief is because there's no way Simmons is lasting all the way to where Tampa is. And
I know. I just give you a hard time, Rich. I'm not big.
Good. Okay.
I just hope we get the offensive lineman we have all been talking about. But I got something else for you. I was playing Madden 19, obviously.
Okay.
When I went out.
Well done.
And they actually updated Gronk on there.
It's amazing, right? It's amazing what they can do. Yeah?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy trying to play. In the first 5 minutes, the score against the Jets was 28-0.
Okay, Andrew. Now suddenly, Andrew, I can't hear. There's Mike, you're finally sleeping at the switch over there when I need you to get the quick trigger.
Sorry, Rich.
Stop texting whatever you're doing over there. Certainly when somebody's like saying, I'm whipping up on the Jets 28-0.
Get your damn act together.
That's
for
ends
yourself.
tonight.
That was for me.
This ends tonight.
Sorry.
11th overall. The Jets get themselves a serious pass protector. Or they can get the kid that we spoke to last segment, CeeDee Lamb. And go get him. Oh, man. And everybody was saying, some people were saying, not everybody, some people were saying, well, why is there a draft? How exciting is right now? How exciting is right now?
The next 3 days.
Again, it won't look normal. Everyone's going to be at home, right?
But in the end, it'll be the same.
It will feel normal.
It'll feel the same.
Right now, the senses that we're getting right now, the excitement that's building for tonight and this entire weekend, it's building. And the one way that we can actually make it different is we can make a difference. NFL Draft-a-thon live. I'm sitting at stage 1, desk right position in my office with Deion Sanders all night tonight. And then all day tomorrow, I'll be there too at 7 Eastern time. And we're raising as much money for 4 hours as well from noon to 4 on Saturday. NFL.com/relief. Go there now if you want to check it out. There's 6 charities that the NFL has identified that are on the front lines of fighting COVID-19 and also to help people who are under the thumb of this scourge. And that guy right there in the middle is Kevin Hart. He's the first guest tonight. He's spending the first half hour. And again, it's just a chat room that you can follow on everywhere the NFL has a social media feed. Twitter, Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, Reddit, Yahoo Sports, NFL app, NFL.com. It's everywhere. And we will be focused on the draft, okay? We will let you know what's going on in the draft. I'm just as curious as everybody else, right? And if there's breaking news, we'll have it. But other than that, it's just going to be a draft party where we're raising as much money as possible at NFL.com/relief. Are you ready? I'm about to read out the guest list of who's scheduled to appear tonight.
All right.
It's long, but I think it's worth it. Because, again, it's just like every single one of these rooms that you've been teleconferencing in with friends, family, business. Kevin Hart's first up with me and Deion. He stays for the first half hour from 7:30 until the Bengals are on the clock. Then a couple minutes in, Michael Strahan joins the room. Then Robert Kraft does. He then has to go to the Patriots draft. Russell Wilson will take his spot. Then Tom Brady joins. And then right before the end of that half hour, DJ Khaled will be there. At one point, it will be me, Deion, Kevin Hart, Strahan, Russell Wilson, Tom Brady, and DJ Khaled.
You're all the way up.
Okay? Thank you.
Well done, Mike. Well done.
Then the Bengals are put on the clock. Everybody else that spent a half an hour with us goes about their respective business. Then it's me, Dion, and my co-host with Dion for the entire first hour, Travis Kelce of your Kansas City Chiefs. As if that's not enough personality, Chad Johnson joins us with Joe Buck together. Then Terry Bradshaw and Jimmy Johnson join at 8:20 p.m. Eastern Time. After that, how about this one? They'll leave, I assume, or stay. I don't know. This is how it's going to go. I do not know. Idea. Barry Sanders will be joined by the largest Lions fan that the gaming world knows, Ninja.
Hey.
Ninja. Then I don't know if he'll have his backpack on or not. Daniel Jones of the Giants at 8:45 Eastern Time, when Ryan Kerrigan, whose job is to put Daniel Jones on his behind, will join together with Joel McHale. And to give him a little bit of love from the Seattle Seahawks, the Griffin brothers, Shaq and Shaquem Griffin, will join Joel McHale at that time. That is at 8:45 Eastern Time. This is all scheduled. That'll be the end of the hour. At which point we say via con Dios to Travis Kelce, and then George Kittle joins us for the next hour as our co-host. This is NFL Draft-a-thon Live. Now, I've just given you the first hour and a half.
Golly.
Nate Burleson will also join for that 9 o'clock hour.
I was trying to type all these out to post on Twitter, but there's too many.
He's like Brock.
10 minutes into the 9 o'clock hour, Joe Thomas and Luke Kuechly will join us. 10 minutes after that, my kids will be there because they could not be more excited. The fact that, again, scheduled to appear from The Voice, Blake Shelton will be on the clock, just as we think the Cardinals will be. That's his favorite team. And to make sure that he's nice and happy, Kyler Murray's scheduled to appear at the same time. You know who's all supposed to join at the same time? Offset.
All right.
Yes, indeed. From Migos. Married to, I guess, can I call him Mr. Cardi B? Is that an insult? Sorry.
They're equals.
LaDainian Tomlinson at 9:30 Eastern Time, along with Cedric the Entertainer and Jim Nantz together. Yep. Never thought I'd say that. And then at 9:40 Eastern Time, the man who coughed up 12 without being asked, Chris Godwin, will be joined by his teammate Shaq Barrett. I'm assuming that's when we're assuming the Bucs will be on the clock. Then at 9:45 Eastern, Brad Paisley will join us. At the top of the 10 o'clock hour, former teammates Jared Allen and Brett Favre will be joined by Lil Wayne. NFL Draft-a-thon Live. Moving on at 10 Eastern Time, that is when Tony Gonzalez and Randall Cunningham are scheduled to join. 10:15 is when we're expecting Michael Vick and Lamar Jackson to be joined together. Oh, by the way, with Quavo and Big Boy. Please, everybody band together, hold hands that they're all still in the room for 10 Eastern Time tonight when Nick Saban joins Draft-a-thon.
Oh, yes. Quavo, Big Boy, and Nick Saban. Oh, yeah.
At 10:25 p.m. Eastern Time. Again, these are all fungible times. Do not hold us to it, as you could sense there are moving parts. Kirk Cousins and James Conner join us. Kevin Byard and Dwight Stevenson, Pro Football Hall of Famer, with The Miz and Darius Leonard at 10:30 Eastern Time. Marlon Humphrey, who's in his 4th season with the Ravens, along with Devin McCourty and Torrey Smith and Tyrann Mathieu at 10:45 Eastern Time. At 11:05, that's when Emmitt Smith will join us with Yella Beezy, who's from Dallas as well. 2 Chainz will be joining us with Greg Olsen.
Yeah.
With Greg Olsen at that time. 11:15, say hello to Pete Berg along with David Bakhtiari. Avery Williamson will join us at 20 after Eastern Time. The CEO of Caesars, Tony Rodeo and Giada, will be joining us together. Austin Eckler, for all you Charger fans, at 11:35 p.m. Eastern Time. Denzel Ward at that time. Latavius Murray at 11:40 Eastern Time. That's when Jay Glazer and Nate Boyer will be joining us to talk about merging vets and players. Kane Brown is a Titans fan. He's only got 2.5 million followers on Instagram. 3 singles reaching the #1 spot on the country chart. He's a Titans fan. He'll join us with Demario Davis and Eric Kendricks and Bradley Chubb. 9 Eastern Time, midnight, We're almost through it. I've got 3 more guests. Charles Woodson, G-Eazy, and yes, Bill Walton.
Oh, really?
At the stroke of midnight.
Oh, my gosh.
NFL Draft-a-thon Live. That's your scheduled to appear
Pac-12
guests
after dark.
for night 1. NFL.com/relief. And I want to thank everybody at the NFL. Tracy Perlman, my gosh, my hat's off to you and the rest of her staff and everybody and Anna Isaacson's staff for putting together the charitable aspects of it. I know I'm leaving people out. Our friends at Central Talent Booking, Joe Jordan, Liz Weld, who are so integral to this show. That's just the first night. The second night I won't go into because I could spend the next 10 minutes. But it'll kick off at 7 Eastern time with Larry Fitzgerald and Dick Vitale. We're raising as much money as we possibly can.
Awesome. Have fun, man.
Join me and Deion Sanders and Kevin Hart live tonight at 7:30 Eastern time. Everywhere there is social media, okay? 844-204-RICH is the number to dial. Let's take a break. We'll take your call, but we'll also take the call of Jordan Love. That's next on Draft Day on The Rich Eisen Show. How's that for a guest list?
I mean, I'm in.
Bill Walton, man.
Bill Walton taking us home tonight?
What's Bill Walton going to be like at midnight Eastern? He'll be out probably here on the left coast at 9 Pacific.
I mean.
But, oh, my gosh. I think he might be in Maui, though, right?
Maybe.
Figuratively.
Yeah. I mean, you've seen his Pac-12 basketball broadcast.
So, it's just going to be...
You grew up in San Diego. What do you know about milking cows? I've watched games in Wisconsin. They got plenty of cows there, and I do know about milking cows. I have milked a cow before, and I have been milked.
Ladies and gentlemen.
That's what you might have. You could have that, Rich.
Ladies and gentlemen.
I had to dig for the full one. I was digging for the full one.
I have milked a cow, pause, and I have been milked. We don't want to know. That'll be a territory we're not entering with one Bill Walton tonight.
Oh.
How great is that?
I mean,
baby,
it's a good lineup there.
Did I say Big Boy and Jim Nantz are going to be on together? Did I say those words?
No.
It's 2 Chainz. Is that 2 Chainz? No, that's 2 Chainz and
Quavo and Big Boy.
Cedric the Entertainer and Jim Nantz.
That's fantastic.
Well, it's Quavo, Big Boy, and then another random person and who is it?
Quavo. I know. I keep saying the wrong. It's Quavo. Yeah. Sorry.
Quavo and
it's Cuervo to me.
Nice.
Well done, Mike. Hey,
good recovery. Kick, save, and a beauty. Kick, save, and a beauty.
Mike, you should go.
Jim Nantz and Cedric are going to be funny as hell together.
You should go live tonight, Mike.
No, tomorrow night I am. Tomorrow night I am.
Well, I might not be able to hit you with a retweet then, sir. I'll be
all right.
I'll be doing this.
People usually listen to me and they'll look at the draft on Friday, like the second night.
I might do some live stuff on our show accounts tonight.
Please do, and hop in.
We should Zoom together, Brockman.
Okay, we are back in a second. 844-204-RICH. We'll take your phone calls and that of Jordan Love next. I love how you started that segment, Chris, by trying to write down all the names that I was about to say.
I was going to tweet them all out.
How quickly were you just like, I'm going to stop?
Well, I ran out of characters, and it was still hour one.
Well, again, Bill Smith, our researcher, because, again, we will focus on, I want everyone to understand, we will focus on the draft when news is breaking, and then obviously when a pick is made, there'll be a ticker at the bottom of the screen. We do know that this is draft night, right? But we want to have an interesting conversation to keep some buzz going and raise as much money for charity at NFL.com/relief. So I want people to know that. That said, it's not going to be like the what can this person do, plug and play, and that offense, and that defense, that sort of stuff. We will mention, and Dion will be there, and other people, as you heard, some names of talking football. We can do that. Ian Rappaport will pop in every now and then with a piece of news that he might have. So we will do that. But I my research tonight that I have right here from Bill Smith NFL Network Research, 61 pages of the guests that I have. That's
crazy.
So when I told you that this was 61 pages long, I thought you might have thought I was kidding.
And that's just tonight.
That's just tonight. Oof. There's a whole longer broadcast that we're doing for NFL Draft-a-thon live on Friday night and then 4 hours Saturday. So the booking teams have just been, working it. Let's go to the phone lines while Jordan Love's about to call in here on the Rich Eisen Show. Let's go to Tommy in Chicago. What's up, Tommy?
Hey, Rich. How you doing?
What's going on, brother? What's on your mind, sir?
Hey, so I know you love your specialist. My best friend, he actually is a D2 kicker. He's looking to get drafted in like the 5th or 7th round. So I just wanted to make sure if Dante Brown from Fort Hays State comes up that you give him some extra love.
I mean, that would have been a stump the truck if we were doing our draft coverage where our great NFL Network crew that amasses all the video and tape from around the country. We usually do Stump the Truck. That's a lot of fun. Mayock played Stump the Truck as the general manager of the Raiders last year and then picked the guy. It was fantastic. So we'll keep that in mind. You're just driving around right now in Chicago, huh?
Yeah, I do Uber too. So I wanted to let you know that I actually got somebody the other day with a 4.38, so that might make you feel a little bit better.
That makes me. Thank you very much. Thanks, Tommy. That's your contribution for the day.
Wow.
For those who may not know,
oh my gosh,
the name of those who are in our YouTube.com/Rich Eisen Show chat room, they asked to be called the 454s because a few weeks ago I shared what Don Bowie is putting on the screen right now. My Uber rating, which is a mystery to me. I'm good to everybody. This is not a window into my soul that I have a 454.
No, not at all.
But by the way, 438. I mean, I think that's what Isaiah Simmons ran at the combine.
Stand by.
Or that's 429. I think
429.
438 is
that's a good.
Yeah. By the way, Pat McAfee, who's on tomorrow's show, once told his ratings like 4.7, 4.8. And he once told an Uber driver that was driving him too slow to the airport, get out of the front seat. I'm driving. I got to get going. And he's got a better Uber rating than I do.
439, Isaiah Simmons, 40.
Well, I don't know this guy's 40 time off the top of my head. Maybe he does. Here on behalf of Verizon, a man who's certainly on the radar screens of so many NFL teams. He is Utah State quarterback Jordan Love. How are you, Jordan? How are you, sir? You doing well?
Yeah, I'm good. How you doing?
I'm doing well. I assume your 40 time is better than your Uber rating, correct? Jordan, or your Uber rating?
It is.
I bet it is.
I don't even know what my Uber rating is.
Well, here's what we'll do is when this is done, you take a look at it and you just let me know, and you can text it, and I'm sure it's better than my 454. My gosh. How many NFL teams? How many NFL teams would you say you have spoken to, Jordan? Give me an estimate.
I mean, with the Senior Bowl and the Combine, I'd say I almost talked to everybody. But in this last month, I'd say I probably talked to about 10 teams.
So what have you been asked about the most? What do you think is the most common question you have been asked that might give people a window into your evaluation by NFL scouts?
Yeah, so for me, the question I get asked a lot is there's a lot about this last season, Our numbers were a little different than the 2018 season, throwing 17 interceptions. So that's definitely a question. They want to find out why that happened.
What's your answer?
Going on. They just want to find out what my mindset was. What was that?
What's your answer to that?
I don't know. My answer is, I'm just trying to do too much out there on the field. Trying to force some balls that didn't need to be thrown and trying to make every play when we didn't need it. That's the reason for that.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I mean, I always thought that when again the XFL was playing and a quarterback throws an interception and they would have a sideline reporter go right up to the quarterback and say what happened. Sometimes it's not your responsibility, but you pretty much as a quarterback have to take it all the time because that's what everybody's looking for in the NFL is to take responsibility for it. But that said, I mean, what do you think you have to tell evaluators that you've worked on that front?
Oh, I mean, it's huge just on decision making, being able to learn from those mistakes I made, and just being able to watch film and understand why I threw those picks and how I can change that in the future.
How does a Southern California kid wind up in Utah State, Jordan?
Yeah, I mean, when that's your only FBS offer, you got to go where you got to go. So, ended up going to Utah and enjoyed it out there.
So that was the only school that offered you. Is that what you're saying?
The only one. Yeah, I had some smaller schools, Eastern Washington, Sacramento State, schools like that. But then, Utah State was the only FBS one to offer.
Does that put a chip on your shoulder?
Oh, yeah, definitely put a chip on my shoulder. Coming out of high school, being a little under-recruited, and making my way out there, definitely put a chip on my shoulder.
What do you say when you hear comparisons to Patrick Mahomes, the ones that I hear, Jordan?
Oh, I mean, that's a huge comparison. I'm not even saying I'm worthy of that comparison at all. He's a fantastic player. I love watching him, but it is what it is. They're going to compare me to whoever they want to compare me to at the time. So I don't have an opinion on that. I play how I play. So yeah.
Jordan Love here on the Rich Eisen Show, the day of the 2020 NFL Draft. So, who was your guy growing up? Who have you modeled your game after, Jordan Love?
I had a lot of guys growing up. I'll say the main one I grew up watching was Michael Vick. Loved watching him, had the shoes growing up, and all that. So that was a huge part. But me, I watched everybody, Peyton Manning, Brett Favre, just trying to take bits and pieces of their game.
Have you been connected with any of those guys? Have you spoken with any of those guys before or since?
Peyton Manning. I was out there at the Manning Pass Academy camp over the summer. Mm-hmm. So Peyton and Eli were out there, and I was able to, chat it up with them and be out there working out with them. So that was a pretty cool experience.
Well, what'd you pick up from them? What pieces of advice did they give you that you were able to take and maybe put into real time for you?
Oh, for me, I picked up a lot. They're dropping just little knowledge bombs on us all week, whether we're out there throwing on the field, fundamentals. We got a little classroom time where we can go in there and just pick their brains and ask some questions, about how they watch film, how they study, and just try and get better every year. So I was able to learn a lot from them.
What's the strangest question you were asked in this combine evaluation period, Jordan Love?
Yeah, for me, I was kind of bummed I didn't get asked any crazy questions. I was hearing about them and whatnot, but I didn't get asked any ones. But the craziest one I heard somebody got asked was, he was up there drawing a play up for the coaches, and one of the coaches said, "What would you do if I punched you in the face right now?"
So, Jordan, what would you do if I punched you in the face right now, Jordan?
Hey, I'd have to take it right now, I guess.
Oh, man.
Remember that.
Are you serious? Are you serious? A coach from like
that's a political answer right there.
Are you so a kid is drawing up a play. This is at the combine then, I imagine, if we're talking about face to face and an actual threat that to carry out physical contact would be feasible. So that's what you heard? You heard that from the prospect who was asked that very question?
Yeah.
So then
they throw some crazy questions at you just to try and get in your head and see how you react to things in different situations. For me, one of the ones they threw they said like 5 different words instead of just say the first thing that comes to your mind when you think of it. So that was different for me, but they just kind of want to see how you react to it.
Right. Yeah. I don't know what you glean out of that, but so last one for you on that. So I imagine it's a fellow member of the quarterback class of the 2020 draft who got asked that question.
No, it wasn't a quarterback. This is one of the guys I was down there training with. I can't even think which one it was. We're in a big room doing all the whiteboard stuff and classroom stuff, and we were just talking about questions we got asked.
All right.
Yeah.
So before I let you go, Jordan, what is the one thing you've heard about your evaluation that you think is unfair that I could give you the floor right now here on the Rich Eisen Show to address and say, you know what, I don't think that part of my evaluation is accurate, and I'd like to, on behalf of myself and everybody that's on Team Jordan Love, correct that before the draft tonight?
Oh, man. I mean, maybe that I'm not, maybe smart enough to play in the NFL, able to break down defenses and, learn an NFL offense just based on, the offense I ran in Utah State, the no-huddle tempo offense, not the huddle. So I guess that'd be it for me. But, just, letting people understand it. I mean, I'm a quarterback. I play this position, and I'm smart enough to be able to understand the offense and break down defenses just like the rest of them. So.
And you're here on behalf of Verizon. They're helping you get everybody together for your drafting tonight, essentially?
Oh, yeah. Verizon, they're helping me a lot. As you know, the draft is, at our house, small groups of quarantine going on. So Verizon just helped me, stay connected with everybody with, give me a phone to be able to, talk to my friends and my family that aren't able to be with me. So they're helping me out a lot.
Well, Jordan, we've never met. This is the first time that we have. I imagine this is going to be the first of many. And I will unsolicitedly tell you, as a veteran of being around drafts, if you're, I hope you get drafted as high as you want. If your draft night may be longer than you would like or expect, some of the all-time greats have waited a very long time to hear their name called. And last year's MVP of the league, somebody traded up and snagged him in the very end of the first round. So, if your night is a little longer than you'd expect or want it to be, just take heart. You are not the first, and there are many before you that have done great things. I'll just throw that out.
Yes, sir. I know that. I'm ready for it.
Okay, Jordan. We'll chat soon, okay?
All right. Thank you.
You bet. That's Jordan Love on behalf of Verizon from Utah State here on the Rich Eisen Show on the draft night. Just figured I'd throw that out there.
I think he goes tonight.
I do too. If you like him,
go get him.
For a fifth year, it doesn't help him out that he'll have a fifth year of a contractual control by his team.
But it helps being a first-round pick.
Yes, it does. And usually a team that does that is somebody who's not in dire top 5 straits. Ask Lamar Jackson how he must have felt that night. Bummed, right? Seeing all these guys go in front of him. Tonight, on this draft night, he will be the reigning most valuable player of this league and the guy on the front of Madden. But most importantly, a guest on NFL Draft-a-thon Live tonight with me and Dion. All right. You know what I'm saying?
Love it.
Most importantly.
Right?
Yeah.
Drew Brees, Tom Brady, for instance.
Russell Wilson.
Brett Favre, Russell Wilson, Dak Prescott.
On and on,
For instance. Kirk Cousins,
Warner.
who is making a killing right now. He's being paid like a baseball player.
Jimmy Garoppolo.
So on, so forth.
Yep.
Now, just real quick, and we'll take a call in hour 3. Real quick. When a scout or general manager or coach asks Jordan Love the most common questions he's being asked, like, where did all those interceptions come from? That question, in my mind, they already know the answer to it. They see it on film. They know when a receiver's run the wrong route. They know that maybe the receiver that had that year in which he had a much better year the year before is no longer on the team. They understand roster. They understand coaching moves. They know all of it. The eye in the sky does not lie, and the rumor mill, the chit-chat, they know it. They just want to hear from him that he's going to take responsibility. They don't want a quarterback to basically say, well, I got to be honest with you. It's just between us here in the room. Me, you, and the grease board, right?
You ran the wrong route.
My receivers weren't that good. Right? We know that. You see on the film. Right, bro? Like, they don't want the quarterback saying that. They want him to say, you know what, I need to be better. I just need to make these throws. They want responsibility from the quarterback. What Emmanuel Sanders, Jimmy Garoppolo took all the time, right? They want to hear that. I'm not so sure what the answer they're looking for from the question, what if I punched you in the face right now, is. What are we trying to see? Like, what's the appropriate response in the mind of the evaluator? What is it? Like I'm going to punch you back? I'm going to knock your block off.
Exactly.
Is that the appropriate response? Or is the appropriate response like, I guess I'll just take the punch, sir, and continue drawing the play up on the grease board that you've asked? Like, what is the evaluation you're trying to glean from the question of, in the middle of you drawing up a play, we're going to say from the back of the room, what if I punched you in the face right now? Is that to throw them off the game to see if he could continue to appropriately draw up the play? Like, that's your version of a distraction of, say, a flash of color from the defense that might cause an interception, or a flash of color from the defensive lineman in front of you because you're under pressure? What the hell are you trying to glean from the response of the question of, what if I punched you in the face right now? Like, this isn't, make like a tree and get out of here. You're like, this is not Biff from Back to the Future. This is the National Football League. What are we trying to glean from these questions? Right.
Yeah, I don't know. That's weird, man.
Man, I'd love to get in the DeLorean and go back to that spot to see which coach actually did that.
Exactly.
David Shaw of Stanford, who knows all of these kids and is one of the best draft experts I've ever been on television with. He will be joining us at the top of the next hour. And then from Modern Family, Eric Stonestreet, one of the best football fans that I know. And I think he's given the commissioner some tips on how to appoint his draft area tonight. That's coming up in our final hour. I've got my residuals, and if you don't mind, I'd like to crow about my career through my residual checks to you sitting right here. I've got 4 envelopes. Which 1 through 4? You choose. Which one do you think?
Let's pick number 2 first.
Number 2 first. Yeah. Here we go. Billy Bob Thornton. Yeah. What's the oldest residual checks that you have?
Probably from like Knots Landing and Matlock, stuff like
Come
that.
on.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
No, I get them for like 13 cents all the time. Yeah, from Matlock.
From Matlock
oh,
and
yeah.
Knots
It's like
Landing.
one scene or something in the early 80s.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
Well, this one is from, let's see, right here. This one is from CSI Miami, Caged.
Nice.
I can't believe, this is insane, Billy. This is nuts,
Is this
Chris.
a real one?
This is a real one. From syndication, $153.
Wow, nice job. Nice job.
This is a record, Billy.
Wow.
I'm telling you.
I got to open these up more in front of you.
I'm telling you, you can actually afford to send this one in to be cashed.
Sir, usually there must be a decimal point off. It's usually $1.53.
Wow.
Oh, I know, right?
What's Caruso making if I'm making $153?
Exactly.
Here we go. Billy Bob Thornton, you're my good luck charm, man.
I got a bad feeling about this one now.
This is for CSI Miami Deep Freeze.
Oh, Deep Freeze.
Okay, the other episode, Caged, was for $153. Deep Freeze, appropriately named, $3.09,
There you
everybody.
go. And how ironic that your name is Rich.
Yes. Knots Landing, huh? That's the oldest one you got?
Yeah, I was like a friendly rancher or something on there. I had my scene with Ted Shackelford. Yes, that's right.
You were officially called a timberman.
The timberman?
Yeah, you were a timberman.
Oh, yeah, wow.
On Matlock, you were a pawn shop clerk.
Yeah, pawn shop clerk. I remember that one. Yeah.
is the Rich Eisen Show.
The Cincinnati Bengals select.
Live from the Rich Eisen Show studio in Los Angeles.
We want Belichick.
Did you text Bill?
Yeah.
Yes or no?
No way. This is why I don't listen to you two schmohawks.
Earlier on the show, the Ringer NFL writer Kevin Clark, Utah State quarterback Jordan Love. Coming up, Stanford head coach David Shaw, plus Emmy Award-winning actor Eric Stonestreet. And now, it's Rich Eisen.
Final hour of this draft day edition of the Rich Eisen Show. As soon as this hour is over, I'll be heading home to get ready for tonight's NFL Draft-a-thon with me, Deion Sanders, and Kevin Hart to kick off the first half hour. It'll be me and Deion with a whole host of NFL celebrities and pop culture celebrities, musicians, and recording artists and actors and actresses. And I read off the list of just tonight alone. In our last hour. If you missed it, go to our YouTube page, youtube.com/Rich Eisen Show for that. We'll soon be posting all videos from the first 2 hours of the show from our Twitter feed at Rich Eisen Show. You can call us at 844-204-RICH, number to dial. We'll take your phone calls before the end of this hour, before we send you all into your draft day. Eric Stonestreet, my buddy from Modern Family, diehard Kansas City Chiefs fan, diehard sports fan, a guy who refers to Commissioner Roger Goodell as the goods, because they're friends. Roger Goodell, I mean, he is he's a diehard Modern Family fan and reached out to Coach Cam years ago, sparked a friendship with Eric, who I do believe has given Goodell some tips on how to appoint his draft area tonight. So Eric Stonestreet's going to join us in the middle of this hour.
All right.
844-204-RICH, number to dial. Our poll question is simple. Where's Tua going tonight? Dolphins, Chargers, or dropping? Where do things stand here at the top of our third and final hour of our draft day edition? Chris Brockman over there.
All right, guys. Tua is going to be the big story tonight. So 23% say Chargers. 31% think he drops. 47% still like him to the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I'm one of those 47%. I'm not falling for any okey doke or any smokescreen. I think the Dolphins are going to go get him, unless, of course, the Godfather type deal that they package together everything and their mother and what have you to get up to the number one overall pick. If this was a normal night, I would be with this man. It's never normal that I would be with David Shaw right in front of the fountains of Bellagio in Las Vegas, Nevada. But if this was the draft night that we all thought it would be, I'd be getting set to be on the air with this man on NFL Network, as he has been for, I think, 8 years and counting. He is the head coach of Stanford football, David Shaw. How are you, David?
I'm doing great, but I would be doing better if it was me and you in front of the Bellagio.
I know that.
I really would be.
I know that.
Or inside the Bellagio.
Well, you know what? I think you could be, but me as an NFL employee, David, I would have to apparently keep walking all the way to the elevator banks and hit a button, unfortunately, to go straight up.
No question.
Oh, no man. Question. But and I think we will be there one day. I think, obviously, the NFL will put Vegas into the draft rotation as soon as possible when we're back living lives as normal as we possibly can. But as for tonight's draft, the question you just heard is our poll question today for a reason, because I think that is the crux of tonight's draft, where Tua goes. Would you agree with that assessment, David Shaw?
Yeah, I mean, every team has to find out where their risk, what risk they want to take, and it's really tough to say if you believe there's any chance that he is not healthy enough to truly compete year one, that you draft him that high. But if you say, you know what, long-term wise, we think he's going to be the guy, this is our guy, we've fallen in love with him in our meetings, we've fallen in love with his film. If he's not 100% year one, but ready to go year two and be the franchise guy that we want, then you don't hesitate. But those are the questions that have to be answered. And I'm not in those rooms, so I can't say 100%. But if I was, I would have to feel very, very good, especially as a general manager, that this guy is not only going to be the guy, but that he's going to actually be the guy sometime in the next year or so, and he's not going to be on the shelf, because I know my job is on the line by making this pick.
So let's hypothetical this thing out best we can, because what you know and what I know apparently is what the teams know. All right, because they clearly don't have the ability to get their own doctor to go take a look at Tua. They have the medicals of the recheck apparently that went very well for him after the combine. check that took place on him, no doubt. So if you get those things in and the eye in the sky that you have seen for this young man, and then you have had the ability to obviously face-to-face it with him, and you do see the video that Trent Dilfer and of him being put through the paces by Trent Dilfer and Ken Wisenhunt and spoke to those guys, would you be comfortable that way in making that decision for Tua atop this draft, 3rd or 5th overall?
If I got that information and what I've seen on film, I would not hesitate. This guy throws the ball in tight windows. He's got quick feet, but he's not fast to escape the pocket. He's got great savvy. He's one heck of a football player, and I think he's going to play really well on the next level. There will be teams that are looking at it just saying, you know what, gosh, if I can take a guy like Justin Herbert that has no physical ills at all, but still a top-line passer, you know, I would just feel more comfortable with that. So that's why those teams have to make those calls. But if I got that information on Tua, I'd turn the card in and high-five everybody in the room. Or elbow bump via Zoom everybody in the room.
Exactly right. So let's put a pin in Herbert for a second, because clearly you've got a lot of history of seeing him with your own two eyes and having to watch your defense and the rest of the room game plan for him. Let's now hypothetical this in the evaluation of Tua and Burrow. If you believe Burrow is that much better than Tua, would you, if you are Miami, give the so-called Godfather offer to Cincinnati, which would be, I imagine, every single one of your first-round selections, all 3 of them, to go move up and go get them? Would you do that?
Just from my 9 years in the NFL and doing this with you all for so long,
yep.
That's never worth it. You end up with a great player and nobody to put around him for the next few years, and I think it's usually bad for your team and it's bad for that player. So I personally never feel good about those big-time blockbuster trades.
No kidding. Put a little bit more meat on the bones. I think it's obvious in the fact that you say you can't surround him with others of first-round talent, but walk me through unpack that one a little bit more for me, David.
I'm sorry, say it again?
Unpack that answer a little bit more. Put a little bit more meat on the bones about why you think that wouldn't be worth it. I mean, if the kid is that good, if he could be the next you-know-what, eventually you can surround him, right?
Yeah, you know, I just picture Ricky Williams sitting at that table after the New Orleans draft where they traded everything for him, and how difficult those next few years were. I think about the Herschel Walker trade. You know, trading away so much, you're helping the team that you're trading with really build. And what I watched the Patriots do, what I watched the Colts do for all those years, just constantly putting pieces around, what I watched Pete Carroll and Snyder do with Seattle with a bunch of 3rd, 4th, and 5th round picks. To me, it's the accumulation of picks that truly help build a championship team, and I would hate to give away a bunch of picks for one player.
Stanford Cardinal head football coach David Shaw. You mentioned 9 years in the NFL, Ravens and Raiders, correct? That's who you spent those times with?
Yes, 1 year in Philly.
Don't forget the cup of coffee in Philadelphia, right here on the Rich Eisen Show. Okay, Justin Herbert, what's your evaluation of him and his readiness or success level in the NFL?
Every single box is checked. Size, athletic ability, arm strength. He is streaky, accuracy-wise. The guy can make some special plays. And I know I've heard from other people and watching their film that you wonder, you don't see the Joe Burrow take the game over, Tua take the game over. You don't see him do that as much as those other teams, those other guys who did those other teams. But I think in the right situation, this guy can either come in early or come in and sit and watch. But I think the ceiling is very, very high.
Give me a right situation for him. What do you think?
Well, you know, the great situation for a young quarterback, for me, starts with a great defense and a running game, so that not all the pressure's on his shoulders, so that he can kind of get his feet wet and hopefully at some point be the guy and take it over. You hate to have a rookie go out there, and you heard, I saw Peyton Manning's quotes about his rookie year that were great for him, but it was a lot of difficult, hard, tough lessons. Because it was on his shoulders from day one. Throwing the ball between 30 and 45 times a game is really, really tough for a young guy when you've got defensive specialists out there that are going to give him things that he's never seen before. So you'd love to have the pieces around him to ease his way in and play, but still be protected up front, protected by a running game, be protected by his defense.
How would you evaluate Sam Darnold right now, David? Year 3 now, going in. His team's drafted.
Yeah, this is where you hope you see the training wheels come off. You hope to see him get comfortable and play at a high level. I know they've had some turnover there at the receiver position. I think that he's played well in spurts, and it's hard to truly judge. Is it, not enough? The team's not good enough around him, et cetera. But I think for him, he's shown those flashes of what we saw at USC. But this is where it's got to start to turn for him and for the franchise, for him to truly be that franchise quarterback and take this team to the playoffs.
Now, I know you were high on him at that draft in Dallas that year, and you were one of the members of the panel scratching your head a little bit at Mayfield. You liked Mayfield a lot, but first overall of somebody that, wasn't much taller than 6 feet, do you think you could make an assessment on Mayfield right now?
My assessment of Mayfield has remained the same as him coming out of college, which is when you watch the great plays, you say, wow, he's a combination of Drew Brees and Russell Wilson. And when you watch the bad plays, you say, oh, my gosh, does this kid understand he can't throw the ball into triple coverage? But there's a lot on his plate. He's trying so hard, and you never fault him for his effort, his toughness, his competitiveness. At times he needs a little bit more discretion, but that's what young quarterbacks, you kind of need to play their way into. We can talk also about the interviews and some of the things he says that you kind of cringe and say, oh, gosh, we want you to be the franchise and watch your words a little bit better. Because everybody's looking at you. The entire organization is leaning on you. And that's what we talk about being a franchise quarterback. It's not just about the quarterback on the field. It's about being the biggest spokesman for your team. And I think he's got some room to grow there. I do think he's improved. But he's got a lot of room to grow as far as turning the ball over and truly being that franchise quarterback.
And last one on the quarterback situation, throw Trevor Lawrence in this mix. Where does he stand for you prospect-wise amongst all this quarterback class 2020? If he was in it, you'd say what?
Oh, gosh, if he was in it, there would be some discussion. But I think the fact that he would have maybe a little bit stronger arm than Joe, about a few inches taller, just as good of an athlete, if not a little bit better athlete. I think he'd go number one. I think the guy's got that it factor, just like Joe does, just like Tua does. But this guy is big, he's tall, he's long, he's fast, he's explosive, he's a great competitor. Watching him get knocked out of the game and then come back and still put his shoulder down and try to run people over and make some big-time throws, this guy's answered all the questions.
David Shaw of Stanford, couple minutes left with him here on the Rich Eisen Show. I know you love talking receivers whenever you're on the draft set with us. Our buddy Mike Mayock, 12th overall for the Raiders, sure looks like he can make his first draft choice as the Las Vegas Raiders GM his pick of any wide receiver on the board. If you had that choice, you would choose who, David?
Boy, that would be tough. We'd have to battle this in the room. I love Jerry Jeudy because I love guys that can run routes and run every single route in the book. The name of the game is separation, and he can get separation right now, day one, as a rookie receiver. That would be tough to pass up. But then I'd look at his teammate Ruggs also and say that this guy is like Hill from Kansas City. You have to count for him because he can score from any place on every single play. That, to me, would be the discussion between those two guys because they are both game changers.
Yeah, I know. Daniel Jeremiah says it goes CeeDee Lamb, Justin Jefferson. How about that? The exact opposite of what you said. That's what he thinks it does. He thinks
and I see that because I think he got probably got 6 guys in this first round that could be special. But I love the quickness of Jeudy. CeeDee Lamb is special after the catch. He ran a 4.50 at the combine, but he seems to run past everybody. And he's a big guy. He's strong. He's physical. I love Justin Jefferson. His ability to get open versus one-on-one, and if he's not open, he just takes the ball away from you anyway. Those two guys are special as well.
So who's the other? So you like Ayuk? Who are the other 2 receivers that you give a first-round grade to?
I love Ayuk.
From Arizona State. You've seen him, obviously.
A guy that just gets the ball much like Ruggs. And as soon as he touches the ball, he's making decisions in his head at a high rate of speed to just score. That's all he's trying to do. He's trying to break tackles, make people miss. He turns short passes into long gains. And as a receiver coach, as a coordinator, as a head coach, those are guys that you're looking for, to where the quarterback can get the ball out of his hands and we can still get a big play very quickly.
All right, ask the poll question of David Shaw before we send him on into his good draft day. Go for it, Christopher.
All right, Coach. Who takes Tua tonight? The Dolphins, the Chargers, or he falls?
I keep looking at it, and I just can't see Miami passing them. I keep saying Miami.
I do too. I do too. I mean, they did all this work. And by work, I mean sending away Tunsil, sending away Minkah Fitzpatrick, sending away Kenyon Drake. I mean, name the people that they have just let go, essentially, to prepare for this moment. And Ryan Fitzpatrick almost botched it because he refuses to tank. That man will never tank, and so
and God bless him for that too.
Right,
but
I
you
know.
Also look at them. It's a newer head coach. They have long vision, and this, you look at him, and this is a franchise guy. If he's healthy, and they have the proof that he believes he's going to be healthy. You have a long vision, and you throw in the pick, and you know that in the next couple of years you may have a special player.
So Tua doesn't have that hip injury, and it's just him straight up with Burrow. Even though we saw them play against each other straight up in Burrow's remarkable season, what's your evaluation? What do you do?
Yeah, I'd have a tough time passing up Tua. I really would. I love Joe's accuracy. I love his playmaking ability. I love his toughness. I think Tua, there's a little bit extra there athletically, in my opinion, but not to run, but to make those ridiculous throws on the run that he can make. They both were surrounded by outstanding talent, but both guys made plays, and I would probably choose Tua.
By the way, I lied. I got one more for you. When you're in the draft room with Ozzie Newsome, what's the proudest pounding of the table you had that Ozzie said, okay, I'll take that guy? Which one?
I don't know how you're going to take this. There was no pounding on the table with Ozzie.
Okay.
Ozzie was the master. His draft process was phenomenal. He weeded out all the things beforehand, and he would put all the guys in one long line, and he could manipulate the draft like nobody I've ever seen. He took in a lot of people's input, but he would remind us all the time that draft day was his game day, which means, when it's our game day, he gets to watch. On his game day, we get to watch.
Is that right? Is that what he would say to you?
Funny. Draft day was Ozzie's game day.
That's great.
There's no question about it. And everybody had a little bit of influence, but he was going to make the call. And he's a Hall of Famer as a player, and he's a Hall of Famer as a GM.
And the mother of all going away presents, Lamar Jackson, his last first-round draft choice. That's it.
Yeah, he's doing all right.
Yeah. You take care of yourself, David. I'll miss you tonight, but let's stay in touch, okay?
Absolutely. Thanks, Rich.
You're the man. That's David Shaw, Stanford Cardinal head football coach. Love having him on the draft set. Love it, love it, love it. Take a break. Eric Stonestreet is next here on the Rich Eisen Show. A lot of fun with one of the biggest, best football fans I know. The Emmy Award winner, Eric Stonestreet, and diehard Chiefs fan, and your phone calls still to come. And it's him. Okay. Also, we've got, Don, you've got the two other draft rooms that we're going to show tonight, right? That we got. We got two last photographs in before tonight's draft night. Oh, we also have teams that tweeted out. Teams tweeting out videos.
Yeah, some people are starting to post
because, again, we love all this stuff. So we'll get to that. We'll get to that and phone calls. If you're on hold, you're hearing us right now, stay on hold. We're going to take your calls. We'll just got to get Eric on board. I didn't want to go in a draft without talking to him. Because this is where, you don't mind waiting all night for your team to make a pick.
No.
Not when you had the parade.
Not when you got the VLT. Not when you got him. So, are you calling him, Chris? Is that what you're doing over there?
Adam's got it.
Okay, Adam's got it. All right. Yeah, they don't have a 6th and a 7th, so it'll be over. It'll be over Saturday afternoon. You can have much of a Saturday afternoon.
By the way, you don't often see, especially in today's NFL draft world, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They just right in order.
Well, the teams over my years of where the draft cards are 1 through 7, one pick in each of the 7 rounds. Yep. And that's the way they look when it's over, where my draft card does not look like it's a 15-inning baseball game, right? Where
it does look great.
Are the Steelers and Giants. all year. Steelers were like, we got 7 picks. We make 7 picks.
Right.
This year, though, they don't have a 1. So rare.
I think that worked out.
Yes, it did. Minkah Fitzpatrick, when the Steelers made that trade, it was like, what are they doing? Big Ben's out for the season, and they're trading their 1? That could be a top 5. Look at the picks the Dolphins have. They could do whatever they want. They can. They could do whatever they want.
And I think they're going to.
Let me repeat this. They could do whatever they want.
It's going to be wild.
What's on that board right there can get them to wherever they want to go. Name it. They want to go lower? They can. They want to go further up? They can. It just depends on what they want to use. And for whom?
5-18-20.
They have every opportunity to get. Put that up one more time, Don, if you don't mind.
5-18-26 is nuts.
Put that up one more time. They have that right
sick.
there gets them Joe Burrow, whatever they want to do. They could slice off. It just depends on how much they want to slice off, how much the Bengals are demanding they slice off, and how much they're willing to slice off. They could get anybody they want. And you don't even see next year's on this one. This right there, it takes a lot to get. This right there is exactly what somebody wants for next year's draft, because that's the way they get Trevor Lawrence. Unless somebody is so terrible, they've earned that number 1 overall pick, and they're going to take him no matter what you offer them. Which is why you go now and get the guy you want now. If it's Burrow, then you go get him. You've got the capital to do it.
I mean, that's...
Is it just me, or is it a little too quiet right now?
We're back with Stonestreet in a second. The only thing bigger than this man's talent is his heart, which I have seen on display at the Big Slick in Kansas City on behalf of Children's Mercy Hospital. This man is all about making the world a better place, whether it's through his generosity or with his supreme talent on Modern Family, which has netted him awards. And I love him. I don't care who knows it. I said it, meant every word I just said, and I didn't want to go in a draft night without talking to a man who will be waiting around but doesn't care how long he's waiting, because that means the Chiefs won the Super Bowl. He's Eric Stonestreet. How are you, sir?
Quick question. What would you do right now if I punched you in the face?
You saw that with Jordan Love, huh? Could you imagine that?
Yeah, that was awesome. I didn't mind the question, actually.
What are you trying to glean from that?
I think you're trying to glean how quick he formulates an answer, because it's such a crazy question, and how he reacts to the question. But then I think you're also waiting to see how he justifies his answer. I think that's the important thing of what he says.
So how would you answer that question?
I would say, sir, are you asking if I would punch you in the face as my football coach? Because I would restrain myself, because I want your family to have you as their father, so I would restrain myself now. But then, I don't want to deprive your children of growing up without a father.
I like it. I like it because. So
I think you just answer it with telling him exactly what you think you would do to him without saying you wouldn't do it.
Without also underselling your power that you would pack with said punch.
Yeah, I think you just tell him confidently, I would beat the living crap out of you.
Yes.
But I'm not going to.
All right, I'm going to do this. I very rarely do this with you, but I'll do it. How would Cam from Modern Family answer that question? Yeah.
Yeah, I think Cam would say, first of all, I love the question. It's a wonderful question. And then I think you would see the farm strength come out of him at that moment.
Damn straight the farm strength would. Oh, man. Yeah. It's funny. I was in preparation for this interview, Eric, because I'm a lead pipe wielding professional. I was wondering, how long has Eric had to wait for a first-round draft selection from the Kansas City Chiefs? What's the longest Eric has had to wait for a first-round draft selection from the Kansas City Chiefs?
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, because this is as long as you're going to have to wait. Yeah. I mean, you're 32nd overall. You can't. That's as deep as you can possibly get. What I'm just saying is how the Super Bowl championship has brought you a long first draft night. And then I looked, like the last time the Chiefs made a first-round draft selection was Mahomes. That's the last time they made a first-round draft selection.
We moved up to get him. Yeah. Well, we had that number 1 pick a few years ago that we weren't happy about having the number 1 pick, but we got Fish there, and I'm excited about. I mean, it's a weird place to be in as a fan. That I love our draft right now because of the volatility of the board. First of all, not knowing who's going to go, where they're going to go. I think, like Brett V said, there's going to be a lot of surprises. So who knows who's going to be available at 32? But just given the coronavirus and the situation that we're all going through, the Chiefs are locked and loaded. Our team is basically what it was last year. So we don't have like the situation we had last year where we wanted McCole Hardman to come in and contribute immediately and learn the offense and learn the complicated schemes that Coach Reed comes up with. This year, we're not going to be asking that as much from rookies.
Right.
We don't need to.
Right, and that's why some might drop, some might not be, taken by teams because they aren't plug-and-play ready and things of that nature. But let's just say the Chiefs don't trade out because somebody might have traded up a little bit sooner for a player, and the Chiefs are like, okay, screw it, we're just going to add somebody. What do you want? Who do you want? What do you think?
Well, I think it's hard to say we would pass up a defensive back if the guy was there that we really liked. I mean, I think there's a couple. If my sources are correct, there's a couple offensive guys and a couple defensive guys that we like, that they like. Sorry, I'm not. It's not a we, but that they like, and we'll see what happens.
By the way, you're talking like a general manager. There's some offensive and defensive players that you like. I mean, does that mean that you're not considering a punter or a kicker set 32nd overall?
Yeah, I think we're going to take punter and kicker out of the equation. I think we're going to take quarterback out of the equation.
Right.
No, I'm just excited because, again, this 32nd pick, if we don't trade back, is only going to contribute to the team this year, in my opinion. I mean, it's not going to be a developmental player. And the other good news is that we can draft for the next couple years. With respect to like the offensive line, knowing that you always need a good tackle, always need a good swing tackle. So I think that's a good prospect for us too, as far as just being able to draft for the next couple of years to keep Patrick surrounded by weapons.
Well, I saw in a couple of the mocks that if DeAndre Swift of Georgia or J.K. Dobbins, who I am thrilled will no longer play another down for The Ohio State University, those two running backs look pretty damn plug and play ready for me. And just to see that that's the guy that they would add after we saw what the offense looked like last year. Oh my gosh, Eric, I would love to see that for you. That's for sure.
Yeah, I like it too. I like our running back situation. The kid we just got from Texas Tech from the Raiders, and obviously Williams. When Williams is on, man, Williams is a beast. He is no slouch.
There's no doubt. I know. But you can't do enough.
I don't know. I think linebacker that can move quick and pursue, cornerback, those are two, and always defensive line. I mean, I think we proved with our rotation last year with the defensive line, and other teams are as well. Having a deep defensive line is crucial in the NFL, especially with these guys that Lamar and the running backs or the quarterbacks that move around so well.
Eric Stonestreet here on the Rich Eisen Show. All right, Eric, did you see the photograph of Andy Reid's draft room? Have you seen that?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know what my favorite part of it is the most. It's clearly a basement because the windows are very high up. It looks like he might be jamming a makeshift desk up against two red doors. I have no idea what's on the other side of it.
Do you have the picture up? Are you bringing the picture up on the screen?
Yeah, we got it right there, Eric. And then of course there is apparently some sort of device that's used for cardiovascular help that it does look like he's using, Eric.
Man, there's a big delay. Oh, there it is. Okay. Oh, yeah, look at that. I haven't seen the wide picture of that. I haven't seen that.
Yeah, there you go. What do you think? Assess that for me.
Oh, man. He let me tell you, he is the best. I was intimidated to be around him and scared, a little bit nervous to be around him because of how much I respect what he does and stuff like that. But I've broken through that and can say now I've gotten to spend some time with him, and he truly is everything you hear the players and other personnel say about him. He's just an all-world guy. We have a lot in common, which is what's really crazy because he grew up here in L.A., and when he and I sit down and talk, we can have some of the same references as far as like hot spots of getting a good bite to eat in Los Angeles, and we really cracked ourselves up talking about different places to get a good burger or a good burrito in Los Angeles.
So are you also a grown-ass man at a punt, pass, and kick contest back in the day as a child, Eric? Did you have that in common with him, too?
Not as a man of him, but I didn't look too different than that. You know, I was as tall as I am now, 6'1", when I was in 7th grade.
Damn.
So I stuck out like a sore thumb, and but it is such a great all-world, all-time.
It definitely is.
Video of Coach Reed.
So,
and we're just so lucky to have him as our leader in Kansas City.
So is it, before I let you go, Eric, is it true you have given Roger Goodell pointers on what he should have as his background for tonight's NFL draft?
I would never, ever be so bold as to give the commissioner pointers. I think he is fully capable and has a great team around him. Having said that, Rich.
Yes, Eric.
I did. I told him, like, look, man, you got to just embrace it, you know, just embrace that you're in your basement. I don't know what that will mean for Roger, as you know and I know, and people don't like to hear because they enjoy booing him instead and thinking he's the worst human to ever walk the face of the earth. He's a funny guy. He's got a great sense of humor. He's a kind individual to people around him.
Yes.
So I don't know what it'll mean for him to embrace his environment, but I suggested, you know, sweatpants and flip-flops and.
Okay. Okay.
I said, I know you still have to be the commissioner, but I really want you to have fun with being in your basement as much as you possibly can.
Embrace the basement is what you told the commissioner of the National Football League.
You got to embrace, you know. Don't deny the reality of where you are. I'm sure it's a nice basement, but you know, just enjoy where you are.
He's told me and the Wall Street Journal, words I've never said before. It's right off the laundry room. So maybe he could just be out there, you know, the Tennessee Titans select as he's folding, you know, a shirt or putting socks together, and then he announced the picks.
Well, I told him he should be, you know, like Cher in a concert and have like 5 or 10 wardrobe changes.
Did you really?
Yeah, I said
that's a good idea.
Coming out in different outfits.
The wardrobe changes. Well, again, he's right by the laundry room.
Changes, and I said it'd be really great if when you come back from commercial break, you're not where you're supposed to be, and then you just clearly have been doing something else. But you know, again, he's such a smart guy because he's worried about anything, you know, like coming off the wrong way. He cares about his job. He cares about representing these kids, and he knows it's these kids' days. So he wants to do right by them, and I know they're going to have some fun stuff in store for the you know, the virtualness of when the kids are picked.
Eric, thanks for the time, man. Congrats on that Modern Family run.
11 years, dude.
Dude, I mean, the amount of joy that you brought people and the rest of the cast and the people who wrote.
Also,
what?
You know what that means also, Rich? We've known each other 11 years.
That's been that long. Are you serious? 11 years.
Well, yeah.
That's right.
Because you were one of the first guys that I was like super stoked to like get to meet and talk to because I was a fan of yours before, you know, I was on Modern Family. So when I forget where we met for the first time, but yeah, we've known each other 11 years.
We have, and one of the first things I told you is I love your show. Your show is just and it didn't and the amazing thing is, Susie and I, my wife and I, we would watch it all the time. She's constantly watching reruns, laughing at the last episode as hard as we did the first, the entire time. Never missed a beat. All of it, Eric.
Well, maybe you haven't seen the last of Mitch and Cam, Rich. Who knows? You never know, right?
Oh, is that a breadcrumb? Did I
maybe
just?
We'll move to Tampa Bay, Chris.
Yes. Yes.
Fantastic, Eric. Fantastic.
That was
so good.
As you would
one
imagine.
Last question, Rich.
Pitch perfect.
What would you do right now if I punched Del People in the face?
You just did, in fact, figuratively punch Chris in the face. Chris, I'm telling you, this is what people think. This is what, and he's got the Lombardi right now. Oh,
I've got 6. I can't hear. What'd you say?
Eric, they're done, Eric. They're done.
The delay on my TV is so long. I just now saw the look on Chris's face. It is perfect.
Well done, sir. Well done. Well done. You earned it.
Oh, man.
You earned
Mitch
it.
and Cam in Tampa, neighbors of Gronk, or Giselle and Tom, and Gronk and Gasparilla and Ybor City and all of it. Oh my God!
Okay, look, I'm excited for Tom. I'm excited for Rob. I'm a fan of those guys as athletes, and I'm really pumped for the city of Tampa Bay. I think it's a great new beginning for them.
A breadcrumb and a laugh. That's what we just got from Eric Stonestreet. Fantastic.
Yep.
Take care of yourself.
Love you guys.
Right back at
brother.
you. Right back at you. Right back at you. That's Eric Stonestreet. Oh my gosh.
Jeez.
You talk about comic timing. I give him that introduction, and he comes right in. What if, Rich, question, what if I punched you right in the face?
He said Del Tufo.
Yeah.
Well, no, in the beginning.
No,
I know.
In the
And then
beginning,
he said my
I know,
name, and it
but
should
then
have been him.
But then we're like, did he give a breadcrumb? And then just because he's just been waiting, he was cultivating that, ready to just throw the Brady and Gronk thing in the face of the Patriot fan here. Oh, that was just chef's kiss, as always. Perfect timing. By the way, I would see a Mitch and Cam show tomorrow.
Yes.
Tonight. No, I mean tonight's the draft.
Not tonight.
You know what
Next-
I'm saying?
next
What
week.
I'm saying
Next
is
week.
I would consume such a program. 844-204-RICH, number to dial. Your phone calls and not one but 2 last general manager home draft rooms that we have cultivated. That's next on the Rich Eisen Show. That was great.
I mean,
didn't see that coming.
Ba-boom! Ba-boom!
Eric he's so
Ba-boom.
quick. You can't. Yeah, you gotta always know he's thinking.
I mean, I've had
It's in
my
the back
fun
of
at
his head.
Eric's expense
Oh
for
my
the last
God.
few
I mean-
years, so I deserve that one.
You kidding?
That was fantastic.
I deserved it.
That was.
I'm telling you, the way I came on the show yesterday to start the NBCSN portion, I gave voice to what so many people were thinking around this country. You know?
Oh, everyone is happy to see that, S-eating grin off the face of New England fans.
Can you?
Yeah, but you're not done yet.
It's been 20 years.
You're not done yet.
What do you got done?
still got
Okay, trespassing in parts, breaking and entering, just making myself at home in Tampa Bay.
I mean, I love it. I like Tom now.
The guy whose house he walked into by accident talked to TMZ about the whole
This is
thing.
crazy, man.
Like, apparently they lives right next door to Leftwich. The houses look nearly identical.
Oh, is that right?
And Tom just walked in. The dude was on the phone in his kitchen. Tom had a couple duffel bags, put him down, looked at the guy and goes, I'm in the wrong house.
I mean,
picked him up and walked out. And before the guy knew it was Tom Brady, he was like, what the hell just happened?
I would have been like, picture, selfie. We're eating lunch.
No, when he dawned on it, then he ran outside and
By the
Tom
way,
was already in Leftwich's house.
Serious response, wrong time to walk in the wrong house. But funny response is people would probably pay money to charity for Tom to incorrectly walk in their house for 5 seconds.
I would do it.
Say those words and he'll turn and go out.
Yeah.
People would pay money for that.
Wrong house.
Wrong
Sorry.
house. Sorry.
Maybe that's part of his all-in challenge. I'll come to your house incorrectly and walk out. That's part of his package for all-in challenge.
That's almost at $1 million, by the way.
Why not? Hey, if they've got it, I guess
That's a
flaunt
great dinner with Brady. Is Giselle with him on that?
Game jersey? Tom's
Is Giselle and Tom? Do you get a duel?
I bet you she's probably got her own
I'm sure she
all-in
does.
package.
I'm sure she does. Some of those things are amazing.
Yeah.
Right.
Pretty. The Jack Nicklaus golf one.
By the way, Brady and Peyton are doing the Tiger Phil thing.
Yeah, confirmed.
Yep.
Hey, man,
That is gonna
that's
be
next up
great.
after the draft. That's next up. Okay, draft night tonight. 844-204-RICH, number to dial.
Hey.
Let's take some calls here. Nathan in Los Angeles been hanging on for quite some time. How you been, Nathan?
I have been well. I've been holed up in my house for all the time that California's been flattening this curve around
Well
here.
done, Nathan. Way to go. Help flatten the curve around here. We are noticing a difference in the curve. There's no question about it, what California's doing. So what's on your mind here on this draft day?
Well, I had an out of the box thought on Jordan Love.
Okay.
But you kind of reminded me that Pittsburgh doesn't have a pick in the first round, so
Right.
I don't think that's going to fly. But I still think Pittsburgh has to think about what they're going to do, unless they're so committed to Duck Hodges that they think he is the heir apparent.
I don't know. They could sit there at 49 and take Jalen Hurts, maybe. I don't know. Maybe that's.
Hurts is so far against their style. It just seems so strange that they would take Hurts.
I don't know. Their style. I mean, look, man, their style. We could sit here and talk style. Who saw Big Ben and Brown and Bell winging it around when they would be 4th and inches and they'd go throw 40 yards down the field? I mean, that's not the Steelers team that I grew up with, or Billy Gardell, our Tuesday guest. You know, who knows? But I don't know. That wouldn't be a bad idea. And thanks for the call. I think clearly what last year showed in my mind is Mason Rudolph's not ready for prime time. So Big Ben is getting up in years. He's the most tenured quarterback with the team that drafted him now that Tom is in Tampa and Philip is in Indianapolis. So did the Patriots share their draft setup? Because I asked for it yesterday. Did they do it? Is Belichick?
They tweeted out a photo right here. I don't know if this is what Bill's house actually looks like.
Is that it?
It's
a dog in a chair?
I told you guys he would have just a phone in front
Bill.
of him.
That's what it
You
says.
guys
Bill.
did not believe me.
It's almost
It's
Gettleman-like.
bottom left. That says Bill Belichick.
That's all he's got. He doesn't need a lot.
Let's be honest here. We know Linda's taking the picture. That looks like a Linda situation, right?
Yeah. If you follow Linda on Instagram,
She's
you know
a blast.
Yeah, she's on top.
Bill's laid back, man. I'm telling you. I told you guys it wasn't going to be crazy.
Could be a smoke screen, obviously.
I mean, he could have a driving.
I love the dog.
Just to the left there is like
drive-in theater screen.
14 screens.
Okay, that's great.
Yeah,
that's great.
He's the mind. He doesn't need it.
There we go.
That's the mind.
It's a draft setup. It's a laptop. Couple of laptops. Looks like you got a little bit of hydration.
Backup and primary laptop.
Beautiful puppy.
All right.
The
Very
dog.
good.
The dog may help him.
The Patriots. All right.
That's
Very
all he
good.
needs.
Let's get to ours. What else do we got? I asked for 2 more. I got 2 more. Oh, the Bills showed theirs before we get to our own exclusive. Our own exclusive.
The AFC
photographs.
East champs.
All right, there's Brandon Bean. Look at that. They got a step and repeat. They put they put
this is
a
no
step
joke.
and repeat sort of background on the wall.
This is no joke.
Look at that. Not the best screen grab of Schefter. I'll be honest with you. I'm sure Adam would probably think differently about wanting that up there. So that's the Bills. The Bears. Ryan Pace.
Yeah, they posted one yesterday.
Ryan Pace. Let's check on Ryan Pace's home draft situation. The Chicago Bear. There we go.
Whoa, that was
all right. So now,
whoa, baby.
Hold on a second. Wait a minute. So we got 3 laptops.
There's one that's
We've got an iPad. There's a 4th laptop that's closed. We've got a singular phone situation. That's a DVR apparently. That's not a closed laptop, I'm told.
Okay.
Wow.
Oh my gosh. Nice artwork too. Good quality flex right there.
That's good.
On the wall.
Damn.
Ryan Pace. There's a phone there? Okay. I asked for one from which one are we going to do first, Don? Let's do Jason Light.
Okay.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers said that he has replaced. He's taken over the playroom in the house.
Oh,
which is dicey.
I mean,
because if you're displacing young kids to set up your draft room,
you could be interrupted.
I mean,
You don't want to step on a Lego.
I know that could be totally like if they get off, but that's it. They removed. That's a kid's playroom. You could see the height of the cabinetry is exactly for kids.
For kids, sorry.
Look at that. No, they cleaned out the playroom. So
Look at
normally
that chair, the little chair against the desk.
that'll be very odd if they don't get the pick in because the phone is made by Fisher Price. That's really odd. This thing is not connected.
What?
That's old.
Why is my laptop playing the Doc McStuffins theme all of a sudden?
What's this frozen
I
CD
guess
doing?
that would possibly be
DVD.
Why didn't you make the pick, Jason? We decided to let it go. and Howie Roseman of the Philadelphia Eagles.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, look at that,
baby.
That's a setup.
2.
That's a setup.
What's all the way in the back?
That's a television setup.
Another
He's going to
one?
get into. You can see cameras and
Oh,
lights.
this is back. It's
He'll
like a
go
step
over
and
there to
repeat thing
talk
back.
on television.
Yep.
Come back to his desk. Look at that, like a resolute desk right there. Look at the desk.
Is this the 1 seed?
I don't know. Lynch is the 1 seed. This is a top
Lynch
seed.
Is 1. Lynch is 1.
Like if we're going to bracket this thing,
That's
I
what
mean,
I'm
this is
saying.
up
Bracket.
there. Well, do you want to compare NFC East?
Yes. Let's go back to Gettleman. Go back to Gettleman.
This is an old photograph. The Giants have to do Gettleman a solid and send us out what it looks like today. Because if this is the setup going into tonight,
there's 2 pictures on the wall.
Come on now. There's got to be something else plugged in. At least a humidifier, okay? At least something.
Or a table lamp. Brockman put it perfectly. He needs
This
a lamp.
cannot
he needs
be.
a table lamp.
This was, again, April 13th. This is 10 days ago.
All right, no update on Giants Twitter of an up.
We've got to get a Gettleman update. I'm through the Rich Eisen show airwaves begging the Giants to do this man a solid. Got to
He's an
take a
iPad.
photograph.
He had an iPad.
He's got to have something more than just one laptop.
Hold on.
One mouse, one bottle of Purell, one bottle of vino, and then one plugged thing in the wall.
You saw Bill's setup. 2 laptops. I'm telling you, you don't need a lot. This
one binder, which has got every draft choice in the history of the draft. That's not just 2020. Look at that thing. And then he's just staring at the laptop.
But he doesn't have a phone. That's what's
one
There's no
Post-it,
phone, right?
One Post-it.
The Post-it, which is obviously his login and password.
Yeah.
Super Bowl 42.
And then there's Howie Roseman in the NFC East. I have asked the Cowboys for Jerry Jones.
I got to see his.
That has been officially entered into
He's
the
in AT&T
request
Stadium.
file.
He's using the Jumbotron.
Dude, he's not.
He's sitting by himself on the 50.
He's home. Everybody's home.
It'd be perfect.
Everybody's home. I'd love to see where Jerry's going to be.
Jerry's is probably nice.
I think so.
I'm thinking he's going to be the
so.
He'll be the GOAT of this.
He'll be the 1 seed?
He'll be the 1 seed.
He's got it. Everything's got to be big.
Yeah, I'm predicting. Yeah, there's no way.
Everything's got to be big.
Bigger in Texas.
Yeah, there's no way. If someone had 3 phones, he has 4.
Giants, do the man a solid. You need an updated photograph. There's no way the Giants general manager, based on everything that we've seen in other people's setups, that's his one thing.
There's no phone.
There's a phone. I mean, there's got to be. Plug it in. I mean,
there's no phone.
There's a cell phone. There's a phone. Or that's a glasses case.
That's a glass case. That's what I'm saying.
For his glasses.
What are they going to carrier pigeon the pick?
Look at that. He's got that painting of Charlotte behind him.
Charlotte.
And John Lynch has got a Leroy Neiman original of the catch. Okay. Right? Brian Pace looks like he's got something straight from the Chicago Museum of Art on the wall.
Should I send him a Davey Tyree
I
helmet?
can't get enough of this. All right, let's go to Owen in New York. Let's take his phone call here on the Rich Eisen Show. What's up, Owen?
Rich, how you doing, man?
What's on your mind, sir?
We're looking at High Rose, and we just saw that great setup you just displayed on air. Now, let's talk about with the 21st pick, him and the Eagles. Do we think they're going to finally trade up and get that star in CeeDee Lamb or Henry Ruggs or whoever they decide to go, or stay down at 21?
I think they stay down at 21 and take the so-called best player available. It could be a receiver. I don't recall last night who Daniel off the top of my head. Hold on, I got that right here in front of me, right? You gave me that paperwork, did you not, Chris Brockman?
Yeah, I did.
I've got it right here. He's got the Eagles 21st overall taking Kenneth Murray, the linebacker out of Oklahoma, adding that piece to the defense. I know you want a receiver. I know that was such a very difficult thing to watch all those receivers get hurt. I understand it was a brutal wide receiver season, but it's a deep draft, man, at that position. You can get really good receivers later on in the draft. But I appreciate the call, Owen. Thanks for the call. One guy that, the Packers took, I think it's great. He had the Packers taking Brandon Ayuk, who, as you heard, out of Arizona State, is a receiver that David Shaw loves. And again, that would be a perfect way of putting a bouquet of roses in front of Aaron Rodgers and saying, okay, Aaron, here we go. We have not helped you in the first round since the year after we won the Super Bowl. Here you go. It's amazing. They have not chosen an offensive player in the first round of the draft since 2011. Fact. Jake in Kansas City. Let's go back to the phone lines for you, Jake in Kansas City.
Hey, Rich. Appreciate you taking the call. You're the man.
Right back at
I
you.
wanted to give a quick shout-out to Eric Stonestreet, fellow Piper High School graduate here at KCK.
You got it.
But as a Chiefs fan tonight, I'll be looking hard at whether Chris Jones will be a Chief by the end of the night.
He will be.
And I'm looking at whether your New York Jets are going to be trading away the best safety in the NFL.
No way.
How you would feel if that happened.
If that happens, I would suggest you watch NFL Draft-a-thon live. We might place aside the whole concept of charity for a minute. Rich. It will still be about NFL.com/relief when it's all said and done. But no, sir. No way. No, I don't think. Look, and thanks for the call. I think you will see maybe Ngakoue go. That might be some player of note. Usually there are some veteran players that go in the draft during it. I don't think so. O.J. Howard could be one of them. Cameron Brate could be one of them, right? They're now expendable.
We're going to see some action tonight.
I think we will, but not Chris Jones. Come on. I mean, they may draft Chris Jones's position, 32nd overall, if they like a defensive tackle, but he's franchised for a reason, and they're going to figure that one out. That's for sure. Michael in Pennsylvania, let's take your call here on the Rich Eisen Show. What's up, Michael?
Hey, Rich, what's going on?
What's on your mind?
Hey, I'm talking about the Broncos going to 7 taking Carolina's spot, trying to go to Isaiah Simmons. I think, a receiver isn't a big – I mean, he might be, but I personally like Tim Patrick as a number 2 to Cortland Sutton. And then we got Melvin coming out of the backfield with Philip Lindsay, so I think we're good with weapons for Drew.
I think that if the Broncos trade up tonight, I think it's to go get the tackle they want. I really think they want to hit that line. Elway knows it. We all see it and know it. We all understand it. You got Melvin Gordon. You got Philip Lindsay. You need to protect your quarterback. And you're right. I mean, they could stay put and get a very talented wide receiver right there in the middle of the first round. But I think that there's going to be a run on linemen, and I think the Broncos want in on that.
I would also take the lineman for sure, but you need someone in the AFC West to cover Hunter Henry, Travis Kelce, Darren Waller, and you need that athleticism and speed in the middle of the field. So
maybe so.
I'd personally rather that.
Maybe so. Thanks for the call. How great is tonight going to be?
Amazing. The draft is amazing.
I mean, we've been waiting months for this.
I know, but we're here. We're here.
It's going to be great.
We made it.
We need it.
We made it.
We do need it.
We definitely need it.
We need it. I sensed it around free agency. That's when the shelter in place started and here in Southern California, and was beginning to dawn on a lot of. I think the new league year began. I think it was the same Wednesday Rudy Gobert tested positive for coronavirus with people filing in for an NBA game. I think that was the same day.
I think we went in place in California on March 19th.
No, I know that, but but that's when we were beginning to sense this was coming, and I understand when the draft, this is going to happen, and I know the commissioner got criticized for having a heavy hand by saying don't criticize this decision because that would be met with some form of disciplinary action. It was basically like, we're going to do this thing. Because if not now, when? And if we want to open up on time, should things actually happen, knock on wood if you're with me, we got to get the draft handled. Everybody's got to know where everybody goes. And if we can shelter in place and do it, then let's figure out how to do it. And guess what? The most adaptable organism in sports, with all due respect to other sports, is a National Football League team. Belichick has won championships being able to adapt from week to week, quarter to quarter, snap to snap, year to year. And here we are. We're having fun showing all of these home draft setups because we like seeing how everybody's sheltered in place, and we like getting behind the scenes. We think it might be a window into their actual souls. We're having fun with it. But it shows you it can be done. It was done. The commissioner's going to be in his house across from the laundry room tonight, and he'll be making the picks, and the prospects will get their dreams come true, and will raise money for COVID-19 relief in the process. NFL.com/relief. Join me and Deion Sanders all night tonight. I read to you in the second hour of this show all the host of fans of the NFL and also pop culture, bold-faced name individuals from the world of football, music, TV, movies. Kevin Hart first up all night long. Please join us. Make us part of your draft viewing this evening on NFL Twitter, Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, also Reddit, Yahoo Sports, NFL app, and more. NFL.com/relief. Let's try and raise a ton of money and enjoy the night. Wherever you are, stay home, stay safe, and hopefully we can help you stay happy tonight over the next few nights for the NFL Draft. I want to thank CeeDee Lamb, Jordan Love, David Shaw, Eric Stonestreet. Peter King of NBC Sports will be first up tomorrow. We also have Joel Klatt of Fox Sports. We'll be all over this draft with Pat McAfee as well. Have a great draft. Draft day is here, people. Soak it in. See you Friday.